Hello, welcome back to Mr. Arsenal podcast for another podcast. Bit of a different one, really. Not something I've personally not seen before, especially on the YouTube side of things. Basically, we're going to go as far back as 1971 season, the double winning side of that, come forward all the way to the most recent title winners, and sort of go through who we think are the best of the best out of the title winners we go through tonight. And sort of, analyse them years as well, and have a bit of a throwback, put a smile on our faces after 17 years of no title, nearly. But as you can see, I'm joined by Richard, Andrew, and Melvin. How you doing, guys?
Well, thank you.
Very well, thank you.
Yeah. It is Melvin's birthday, so everyone in the comments do send the comments of happy birthday to Melvin as well.
21 again.
Yeah, 21 again, and as it's his birthday, there's no full Melvin today, no matter what.
Times 3 and a bit more.
Very, very annoying that there's lockdown and we can't give you the bumps, Melvin.
Yeah.
Very annoying, you can't give me any presents either.
I'm making up with it with my singing.
But yeah, just going back into Weldy's in the chat as well, saying hello. Big up to Weldy as well. Martin is on his way. Another guest of ours is on his way. He has got the link. He just, as soon as he hits backstage, as I always do, when anyone's late, I put him straight into the stream, introduce him, and go from there. But yeah, let's go all the way back to 1971, well before I was born anyway. But yeah, the 1971 team, the first of our 3 double winning teams. And look who's there, Mr. George Graham himself, underneath the ribbons.
Frank, George, and Charlie.
And Charlie, Charlie. Yeah. And what a captain Frank was as well.
Oh, terrific.
But yeah, as I said, that was the first. This is the first team we go back to, because we can't go all the way back. We'll be here all day. But this is the first thing we're obviously going to go back to the 70-71 season. As I said, the first double winning Arsenal side in our lifetime. And what a team looking back, because I've got the season review and video still. What a team it was as well. And it was 10 years on from that lot down the road doing the old so we say. We sort of burst that bubble eventually. A few years down the line, we'd come back and get our second. But yeah, I was just going to get my phone, because I literally got I'm going to go through the players that we had for back then. 1 second. Obviously, we know of like sort of Bob Wilson and Bob Wilson in goal.
Sammy Nelson. Anyway,
I know I can do it off
literally.
If you want.
Yeah, if you want to. Yeah,
the normal team. It was what they did. He changed things around the manager. He made McClintock, who was a midfielder, put him to like centre half sweeper. That worked out very well. And Peter Storey used to play left back, and he turned him in that season to a midfielder, a destroyer, if you like. And so the team would be something like Wilson in goal, Pat Rice. You'd have Frank McClintock, Peter Simpson, and Bob McNabb. I mean, fantastic defenders. Each and every one of them, absolutely fantastic. Then you'd have number 4 would be like Peter Storey. Then you'll have George Graham, Charlie George, George Armstrong. Up top would be Ray Kennedy and John Radford, which, again, that was the first full season they played together. Because the season before we won the Fairs Cup, and when Kennedy first got into the team, he played right at the end of the season. His first game, I think, was a final in the Fairs Cup. And we had a few youngsters coming through, like Kennedy, like Rice, that really, and Kelly as well. Kelly was a very good player. They actually brought the team together, a bit like we are today, actually. But a few youngsters come in. Thank you. That makes us made us, but we were a good team. That just gave us that little bit of impetus, having these youngsters in who were ready for the team. You know, we had Geordie Armstrong playing. He played every game. I don't know how many games. He must have played over 60 games that season. He was non-stop, like up and down all the time. Brilliant. And we had a couple of people that played, was very influential. Like Sammy Nelson played when Bob McNabb couldn't play at left back. Jeff Barnett was the goalkeeper, but I don't think he hardly played because of Bob Wilson was out fit the whole time, and John Roberts at centre half. And that was our squad. And we didn't have a very big squad, but it seemed to work. And it was just, I say, that season, the difference from the season before, number one, they had the confidence. After a long time, they actually won something. I think it was 17 years or something. So they had the impetus going. plus a couple of youngsters coming through that hit the ground running, and we had some, very experienced players as well, and it just all blossomed, and it was fantastic. It clicked. It was a pleasure. Went to all, as I say, I went to all the home games and quite a few of the away games, and it was unbelievable. It's I didn't believe we were going to do it because I was quite young at the time. I'm thinking I've never seen Arsenal. Before that, I'd never seen Arsenal get through the 5th round of the cup. So to see us have a cup run as well, near the top of the division, and Leeds were always favourites that season to win the league. They had a fantastic team. We were always chasing them the whole season, and then things conspired and it went in our favour. There was a big game against West Brom where Leeds got beat for a diabolical offside goal. Unbelievable offside goal. It was nearly a punch-up after the game.
Maybe they should bring in VAR or something to sort those problems out.
No, not then. No, we're all right for that game.
Very much easier, wouldn't it?
Forget about that.
You'd imagine they would have done something like that by now, wouldn't you?
Yeah. But yeah, Charlie George was a youngster as well. I think he'd played 1 or 2 seasons before, but he was the darling of the crowd. He was something different. He wasn't like your ordinary football. He had so much flair about him. He could hit a pass, a 10-yard, 50-yard pass without looking. He had a fantastic shot, and he had something about him that the crowd loved. I mean, he was a non-banker, and he was just brilliant. And it was just a fantastic season to watch the Arsenal. It's a shame we couldn't go on. Bert and me split the team up a year or 2 after that. He was just,
a couple of years,
it went against him, and we should have won a lot more from 71 onwards. I think we got to the cup final the year later against Leeds, and that season in 71 too, we could have won the league again. We were very close. We lost a couple of games right near the end that we shouldn't have done. At Derby, I think we got beat. But as I say, that was very disappointing having got there, and then all of a sudden gone down again. Though we signed Alan Ball the next season, which was a great signing. Didn't click.
Yeah. But Ethan, I was also looking into it, dealing with it, and I was looking at the staff, and obviously, as you mentioned, Bertie Mee was the manager, but then the trainer was George Wright, first team coach Don Howe, who would go on to be the manager of Arsenal anyways. And look how that turned out. And Dennis Hill Wood was the chairman.
Well, Don Howe, all the players, hearing from certain people, the players loved Don Howe. He was the guy that got them to that level. And he left Arsenal, I think, because he had the offer of to be manager of West Brom. And then it didn't happen. And then he came back later on as a manager of the Arsenal. But he was well respected by the players. Well respected. He knew his stuff.
Yeah, and he won a few. He won a couple of FA Cups along the way, and back-to-back finals as well. Obviously, we lost a couple of them, but
that was Terry Neal, manager, back-to-back.
Was that Terry Neal?
Yeah, Terry Neal was the manager.
Before my time.
How was his assistant then? So it was
exactly. Yeah.
But it was still,
when Neil got sacked, Howe took over.
Yeah. So, but he was still part of the system that.
He was
that time frame. And there's no coincidence, obviously, to say the players massively respected it. In 71, we see what we're talking about now, and then years later, he comes back as an assistant, and then again, suddenly the levels go up again, and we start doing well in the FA Cup and getting to these finals and winning them as well. I mean. Part of our history, that you know what, you can't really complain. I mean, what a servant! Even though he said he did go off, but he did come back. There must have been a pull there. But the main name is Hill Wood. We don't have Hill Wood anymore at our club. It's, as we know, it's since the Hill Woods and the name of that is gone now. We're getting what we're getting. At least with the Hill Woods, their consistency. Let's be honest, they love the club, the Hill Woods.
They had a bit of class, the Hill Woods, didn't they? Arsenal's all been known for having class, and one of those reasons is one of the main reasons Hill Woods were at the helm. They ran it properly. They knew what was required. They did things the right way, the Arsenal way, and I think we've obviously gone backwards a little bit since then. But it was a bit special, Arsenal then, a bit special.
And also obviously Charlie George, as you mentioned, that we put that photo up before the FA Cup final. His goal, that celebration of him just falling to the floor, legs open, arms virtually in the air, like the sun and beaming down on him. Literally, that's engraved into the Arsenal history. It's so much that you go to the Arsenal Museum. If you go to the Arsenal Museum, obviously when things are back to normal, there's a bust of that celebration in the museum there. It's that iconic in the club, and he was such an iconic player. And again, even to this day, he's so loved within the fan base. And how many? Well, 50 years this May, the anniversary. And that's saying something for what the player he was and what a servant to the club he was, along with the likes of George Graham, McClintock, and Pat Rice even. I mean, Pat Rice, as you said, played in that team, and then years later comes back as an assistant under the George Graham era, going into the Wenger era, the successful Wenger era. Again, they're all loved. Geordie Armstrong as well.
I'm surprised there's not a bust of Geordie Armstrong anywhere, to be honest with you. For what he gave to the Arsenal.
I mean, you look at that squad from 71, and how many of those players ended up staying at the club after they finished? Obviously, George Graham was manager. Geordie Armstrong managed the reserve team, didn't he? I think it was like the youth team. Obviously, Pat Rice was assistant, wasn't he, for a while? Don Howe was at the club at the time, and obviously stayed for a number of years afterwards. And they was all proper Arsenal men, weren't they?
Bob Wilson. Bob Wilson.
Yeah, goalkeeping coach, wasn't he, for years? So yeah, you know, most of those players had a real affinity with the club, and they ended up staying there for the rest of their football career, even when they finished playing. And I think it just shows how different football was then as well. Plus the other thing was, I think we won the double and we only used 17 players or something in the whole season. And you think now, if you haven't got like 30 players in your squad, you're not going to be successful. Whereas back then we used 16, 17 players all season. 42 league games there was as well, plus all the other games. I think we played over 60 games that season, which is more games than an average team plays these days. And yet we did it all with such a small group of players. You know, players got injured, but they didn't seem to be out for 6 months at a time. They got injured, missed a couple of games, came back in. And I don't know. I mean, no, football's different then. You know, it's more. You've got to be more of an athlete nowadays, maybe. But it just goes to show how different things were. And you know, 50 years ago might seem like a long time to some people, but in overall scheme of life, it's not that long period really. And how much things have changed in that period of time, you know. And it's a shame really, because we've lost a little bit of that identity from Arsenal. I say the Hillwoods, as you mentioned, they were a massive part of the history of the club going back decades and decades, and all through the success that we had. And we've lost that identity now. We're not Arsenal. We're not the same Arsenal that we were. Unfortunately, looking back at these title-winning teams is going to make us think that even more, because since that history's kind of gone, unfortunately, the success and the titles have gone with it, and now we're left with what we've got, which is a shame. But you know, we've all been lucky enough to witness some great moments and some great teams, which we're going to talk about tonight, which is good. So at least we'll always have their memories. I feel a bit sorry maybe for younger fans that might never experience that in the future. It's not guaranteed it's going to happen again, is it? And I feel a bit sorry for them, because then they might never experience what we did.
That's exactly why when it was Sir Chips Keswick, wasn't it, recently, who retired, and he was the last of the old sort of schools that left. And I put on Twitter that I was really sad about it, and I've got so much abuse saying, "Oh yeah, he's useless, he did nothing, blah blah." But it was a signal, really. He was the last one to leave of the old guard, and I thought it was sad. Although he did, he probably didn't do anything, but that link is all gone now.
It's that link to the past, isn't it? That link to our history, which has gone completely. I mean, it's pretty much gone for years anyway. But that, like you said, he was the last one to go, and it is a shame because unfortunately now we aren't the same club as we were, you know, and it is a shame. But it's just the way football's gone, I guess. I don't suppose it happens to other clubs as well. It's not just ours, but I think maybe we feel it the most because I think we've lost the most good bits of our history have gone, maybe more than other clubs, perhaps, because a lot of them didn't have history, did they, until quite recently?
Yeah, and just we'll obviously move on now to the next title winners. We had to wait. Well, people had to wait. I was literally 6 days old when this happened. Obviously, the actual event itself happened, but 18 years of hurt for anyone that was around that time frame and going through all the trauma. Because I listened to Amanda on the Highbury squad and how she describes Arsenal and how it was going through turmoil. Literally, Highbury was not even half full at times and things like that. Then comes forward George Graham, part of the 71 team, as we've mentioned, comes back in 86, wins us the League Cup in 87 against Liverpool, coming from behind for the first time in that time period that Liverpool will go ahead with Ian Rush scoring. and we come back and we win that game 2-1. And then fast forward 2 years later, this night, this infamous for Liverpool's point of view, but famous night for us guys, us Arsenal fans. As I said, I was literally born 6 days before this happened, so I've learned about it as I've got older and things. As I've got older, but look at the players in that picture. Look, Kev Campbell in his suit there, John Lukic, Stevie Bolden in the armway there, Paul Merson, young Winterburn with hair, Perry Groves, Smith, Niall Quinn. I think Mickey Thomas, Brian Marwood, Rocky Rocastle.
Brian Marwood, that picture.
He had a great season that season, didn't he, Brian Marwood?
Paul Merson.
Paul Davis.
Paul Merson right at the top.
Yeah, right at the top. Literally,
No teeth.
Oh dear. Yeah, Rocky Rocastle, Lee Dixon as well. But yeah, Paul Merson's hair, bloody hell.
And I think next to Kevin Campbell, is that not Gus Caesar?
Looks like it.
Isn't it? That's Gus Caesar, that. He didn't even get a medal, did he? I think he only played 2 games.
Yeah.
But anyway, good luck, Gus Caesar, mate. Well done for getting in that picture.
Yeah. And then, going into this season, literally, this was a time frame where Liverpool were the all-conquering, swashbuckling team of not just English football, but European. They were competing on every level, and they were pretty much favourites at everything. I think I've watched the '89 DVD, and the odds for that season, the shortest odds we had was 16-1 to win that title that year. They were odds on, even money
never
to
been
win.
Beaten at home for ages. Never lost by 2 goals for ages. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. No, we broke about 3 records that night.
Yeah.
We had
but that season as a whole, it was just the combination of everything that George Graham had built in that short span of when he came in from '86. A 3-year span of all that work, hard graft, and everything he believed would be the right way to get Arsenal competing again, came to fruition that season, and especially that night. Because also, for anyone that doesn't know, that game was rescheduled because that game was meant to happen in between the mini break of what they put in place because of what happened at Hillsborough and everything that happened with that. So this is literally.
I think that game was originally scheduled for the week after the Hillsborough game.
Yeah,
and so obviously it got postponed to the end, and they put it to the end of the season because they knew how important it was going to be, I suppose, as well. That's why it was so late on. In fact, it was the 26th of May. It's one of the latest games it had ever been at that point in the league. So, but it was due the week after the Hillsborough game. So
but
there was a lot of focus on that really at the end of that season because obviously Liverpool were massively affected by that, and it was almost like I don't think anybody really wanted us to win that title that year because it had to be Liverpool's season because of what they'd gone through at Hillsborough, and they'd won the FA Cup just before we played them in that game, and I think everybody wanted them to do the double. The TV people wanted them to, fans of every other club wanted them to, and maybe that helped us a little bit, I think, because there was absolutely zero pressure on us anyway because we wasn't expected to win 2-0 at Anfield because nobody did, and I think we could go and relax and just play our game, and that to me was probably even now, 30 odd years, 35 years later, whatever it is, still nothing will ever come close to that moment. Anyone, I think any Arsenal fan who was old enough to kind of be aware of what was going on will never ever forget that. Not just that night, but the whole season. I think it was a season where suddenly, I've been supporting Arsenal for about 10 years by that point. We'd never got anywhere near the title. And suddenly that season you thought, you know what, we've suddenly got a team now that could win the league. Not necessarily now, but is capable of winning the league suddenly. And it suddenly became a possibility. So to do it that season with such a young team as well, players that have come through our academy, Rocastle and Merson and, Tony Adams and people that just, and all those players that Jules Graham had got from all the lower divisions, like Steve Bold and Dixon and Winterburn and Marwood and people that nowadays, if Arsenal made signings like that, there'll be meltdown on Twitter, wouldn't there? Those players, absolutely. He knew that's what he needed for his team to build it, and that's what he did. And he built a team that to overturn that at Liverpool side, and it was Arsenal that ended Liverpool's dominance of the league that had been going on for 25 years. And it was George Graham that sorted that out. He plotted it when he took over at Arsenal. He said he wanted to overturn the Liverpool kind of dynasty. And that's what he did. And he achieved it. And he achieved it with, one, mostly all British players. And secondly, with a load of players that had come through our academy. And yes, it's a similar situation to 71 in that sense, maybe. But obviously for me, I think I turned 21 that summer. So it was a great year for me. And obviously it was just incredible to witness that, and incredible to witness the trophy parade afterwards and all that kind of stuff. Just unbelievable memories. And nothing, Sqaud might want to think that Aguero's moment is the greatest moment in football. Aguero's moment
nowhere near
never come close to anything that happened that season or anything that happened on that night, and nothing ever will.
Yeah. No one's going to believe that again.
Let's say facts, right? If that was a movie script, it would be thrown back at you, and everyone would laugh, saying it's not possible. It's just too cheesy. It's just too cliche.
Well, I mean, they made a film of it, didn't they? That's how cheesy it was.
Yeah.
It became a film. It shows how almost impossible it was to actually happen in reality. And it's almost like, you watch the film Fever Pitch, and you could almost, you have to tell people, actually, no, that's a real story, and people wouldn't believe it.
It's true.
Yeah. You watch the 89 DVD, the 89 thing. Did that really happen? Because no one would. If you didn't see it, you wouldn't believe that it happened. You wouldn't. Because it's one of them moments that you just will. Even now, whenever I see John Lukic get the ball in that last goal and he throws it out to Dixon, I'm thinking we're not going to score. Every single time it goes to Michael Thomas, he's not going to score. He's going to get tackled or he's going to miss. But every time he scores, every time it's like, well, that did happen.
By 89, I'd seen a lot of Arsenal over the years. And I remember as Thomas was going through, I was sitting at home on my couch. I slowly went up like Fever Pitch geezers did. And I thought in my head, for that split second, if he misses this, I can't watch football again. I'll be too disappointed. I can't watch football ever again if he misses, because I'll be so disappointed. I won't be able to get back out of this. It would be too much. I won't recover ever.
And what made it even more...
That moment, I can still see it now. And I squint when it went in. And my daughter, who's following up around there, she was a little baby. And my wife goes, "What are you doing? You woke me up." I said, "I don't care. I don't care."
What made that goal even more bittersweet was literally not long prior to that, he had an even better opportunity to score. He passed it, but toe poked it to Gobbler.
Yeah, but in the way that helped him, I think that gave him. He realised before what he did wrong on that other chance, so he thought next time. He knew what to do, didn't he? And he took his time and he waited. Whereas the first one, he kind of rushed it a bit, didn't he? But the second time, he'd learned from that. And he, and I think one of the players had said, I can't remember what, someone on the 89 documentary said that of all the players to fall to, they wanted he was the best player to fall to because he didn't feel the pressure.
Yeah, because he was just calm. You could literally sleep on a hanger on a closed net, basically.
Washing line, yeah.
Washing line, that's it. Yeah.
The thing was, it was the first time they'd ever put the time on the screen on the football match as well.
Yeah,
and they never it wouldn't have been shown normally as well, but it's just because it was rescheduled to the end of the season. And it wouldn't have been on TV even.
Yeah,
and that's just the way that the match, like Richard said, got moved from just after Hillsborough to the actual after the FA Cup final. That was never heard of, and the fact that it had been moved to there, and it was the last kick of the whole season that decided the title. I mean, you couldn't make it up, could you? I mean, you literally couldn't make it up.
And this is why you're gone, Melvin.
Sorry, they reckon that Sky pushed ahead with their football idea because of that match. They saw how everyone was watching it. They thought, "Hold on a minute, there's a market here."
Yeah,
and it gave them the idea for doing it.
Yeah.
Well, they saw that football could be a TV show. They saw how football could be a dramatic TV show. And I mean, you had to me, football was dead in the 80s, right? Because of hooliganism, because of the Heysel Stadium disaster, then Hillsborough. Football was dead. And then that game in 89 and then the 1990 World Cup when England nearly won it. Those two events so quickly revitalised football. Yeah. Sky got involved on the back of all of that. And here we are today. So, every time I moan about modern football and how much I hate it, I always think actually it's our fault because Michael Thomas scoring that goal created this monster that we've got now in terms of Sky and everything else that's gone with it. Because without that moment, I think football was on its knees at that point. Crowds were low.
Yeah.
You know, it was on its absolute knees in the 80s. Gradually going through the decade, disasters were happening, Bradford fire as well, and loads of other stuff. And it was almost like football was the least cool thing possible. You know, and you was almost embarrassed to say you was a football fan and you went to football because people would look at you like, oh, you must be some sort of loony then. And that was what it was like. It wasn't cool at all. And those two events so quickly, it's sort of 89 and then 90, changed the whole perception of football. And suddenly, within a very short space of time, it suddenly became a family thing. You know, kids were going and you're taking your wife and your girlfriend with you, and it suddenly became a completely different experience. And it was on the back of those two events. So Arsenal created this monster in a way by that goal and that game, which I'm pleased about it happened. But when I look back on it, I sometimes think, you know, not the greatest things come out of it in the end overall, but I guess some people probably enjoy it more now. I don't know, but I would go back to the 80s, even though it wasn't as good. I'd go back to the 80s every day.
It was all David Dean. David Dean created the whole thing. Not obviously he didn't put all the money, but it was his idea. The way that Sky revolutionised football, and he got it from the American sports. And then when that all happened, and then 1990 happened, Gazza's tears and everything. That's when he took the idea, and he was fully involved in setting it all up.
Well, that took football, didn't it, to a different audience? I think 89 did, and then 1990 as well. It suddenly took football to a different audience, and suddenly it opened up all these possibilities. And obviously, Sky then with the Premier League and everything like that. Yeah, and David Dean was behind that. Of course, he was. And that that kind of started the ball rolling, didn't it, for this modern football now that we've got? Which, for better or for worse, I guess, I don't know, but that's the situation, and it all stemmed from that particular night. And I don't think none of it would have happened without that goal, without that day, without that whole event of that night. You know, whether or not Arsenal won the league or not, I don't think any of that would have happened afterwards if we didn't have that one game at the end of the season, a title decider, going down to the last minute. You know, and even if Thomas had missed and Liverpool had won the league, it still went down to the last minute. That drama would still have happened. It just wouldn't have been as good for us, you know, and it wouldn't have been as dramatic to watch. But that whole season really just accumulated at the end of the decade as well. It just accumulated in the end of what was old football and the start of what is modern football. And that night was the turnover date for me when it all changed.
And I had a knee-jerk reaction. I said to people at work when I went in on a Monday, I could actually give up football now because nothing's going to surpass that.
Nothing's going to top that.
Nothing.
Exactly. I thought, well, I've done it, seen it, done it, got the T-shirt. What can actually ever beat that? You know, but obviously things did.
I felt that. I felt that strongly.
Football that night. I broke my toe. Celebrated. I jumped up and I hit my toe on the sofa. Run outside to see my mum and dad, and the pain was like it just didn't matter.
No,
literally
the adrenaline kicked
in. I mean, a couple of days later, I was regretting it, but it was just it was like a completely football that day. It was just it was just the best moment.
I wouldn't have cared if football had finished after that.
But also, being top.
Also going into that game as well, because George Graham had he's set up. He had everything up to that point. He had it in place. He never changed it, and then. Obviously, the last couple of games, we had a chance at Highbury to win the title the week before.
We blew it twice.
Derby game. Was you at that Derby game, Melvin? Was you at that Derby game when we lost? Was you at that game?
2-1. That was, I think he made a mistake. Tony Adams let Saunders pass him.
Saunders scored twice, didn't he? Was you at that game? That was literally.
I was at the game.
I came out of that game, I was nearly crying because I knew we'd blown the league that day when we lost to Derby. And we scored in the last minute. Alan Smith scored. In the last minute he did. We were 2-0 down. Alan Smith scored. And I remember saying to my mate, what is the point of him scoring now? What is the point of him scoring when we're 2-0 down in the last minute? A waste of time. What a stupid poxy goal that is. And I was so annoyed that we'd scored. And that goal actually, because we won the league by goals scored, that goal actually won us the league. And I was saying, what you got the scoring for? What a waste of time.
One thing as well about that season, Alan Smith got one of his, I believe, 2 golden boots. And when was it? The first I heard it on the podcast, but he never took penalties. The first penalty he ever took was sorry, gone straight out of my head.
It was 91 against Man United when we won the league, and he scored a hat trick.
That's the one, that's the one, and that's the only penalty he ever took in his career.
And he only scored 2 goals outside the box. for
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, he'd never done that before either.
That's right. I'm really glad that you remembered that. There, that's exactly right. But that's the only penalty he ever scored in his whole career.
It was,
And the amount of goals that guy scored for us
And made.
is so underrated. So underrated that he, when he considers that he never took penalties either.
And he stepped up in the big game, didn't he, Alan Smith, as well? He scored, obviously, in the Winners' Cup final. He scored in FA Cup semi-finals. He set up a goal in the FA Cup final for Ian Wright, didn't he, against Sheffield Wednesday? And in the big games,
scored on that night as well, and
he scored at Anfield. Yeah, he steps up in the big games. Alan Smith, he was fantastic player for us.
An underrated player.
One of our most underrated players ever. Yeah,
I was about to say massively underrated, but yeah, going back to George Graham, because obviously them 2 games in his head, and he's like, well, got nothing to lose, so I'm going to change not just tactics, I'm changing the formation, everything, and the players are like, are you sure? What are you smoking? What are you drinking? Because he literally went from playing the formation he'd been playing all season before the back. Then went, and he decided to do Winterburn and Dixon as what modern day is wing backs basically, with O'Leary, Adams, and Sqaud.
Yeah. Nearly scored, didn't he?
Yeah.
First half.
First half, yeah.
Bold was number 10 that night, wasn't he?
Number 10 on his back,
Unbelievable.
But the players themselves were like going into doing all the training and all that, or going into that game. Like, has he lost the plot? We need to win by 2 goals. We don't need to defend. We need to attack. They didn't get it either at the time. They admit they didn't get it. But you know what? That showed the bravery and the cojones that Graham had. That he did have.
From a tactical manager, he was. He understood. He understood the game, didn't he?
Yeah, and he could change. He could change it on a switch, and it would work. And it built because of that, and because of that '89, we sort of had a little mini dynasty ourselves in that George Graham era of, as you said, the '87, '89, '91 league, the cup double '93, '94, the 1994. That was all built.
Great days, they were absolutely great. Probably the greatest days of my life.
He understood psychology as well.
Yeah,
because what he did, he took the team up the morning of the game. Normally, you stay overnight in Liverpool.
Yeah.
He said, I'm not having that, because everyone has a go at all the Liverpool people support Liverpool up there or Everton. They all have a go. He said, I'm not having our players under that pressure. So he took them up in the morning. Very clever. Very clever.
Yeah.
And you know what? George Graham,
he was a genius.
I absolutely loved him, but I was so utterly proud of him as our manager. I mean, he just looked the part, he acted the part, he was tough. Yeah. He was everything I would ever want in a manager. And the way that he was after the goal went in at Anfield,
he's like, calm down.
Yeah.
I think that was taking the piss out of the Scousers. All right, calm down. I mean, can you love him anymore?
Imagine Mourinho. Imagine what Mourinho would have done in that moment. He'd have been running around the pitch, wouldn't he? Taking his shirt off like Melbourne. That's what he'd have been doing.
He would have made it all about him. He would have made it all about him.
Yeah, well, of course. But yeah, now we're going to fast forward quickly on.
The half-time thing as well. Sorry, just
when, half-time, yes.
The best thing about is when Merton recollects that he just said, "Oh, it's going perfectly. It's going straight, perfectly to plan." And he said,
they all looked at each other.
He's lost his trolley. This guy, I've got to score 2 goals, and honestly, I think.
But he also said, "Oh, it's got great players. All going according to plan. We kept the clean sheet. Now we're going to do the job, and we're going to win this game 3-0 from the second half onwards." He almost got it as well.
Well, he thought we'd scored a second goal and get a third on the break when Liverpool were pushing on to get a goal. That's what he thought would happen, but it didn't matter. 2-0.
But it was that belief that he had in the players, and because he had that belief in them to do things like that, they fed off.
They believed it as well. They believed it. Yeah, exactly.
So much that then 2 years later at Highbury, finally we come back and win it again after with this team.
He made 3 very good signings that pre-season, didn't he?
One of them in green, the main one in green. You can see set a record as well that season.
And the one right underneath him.
Yeah, right underneath him.
Limpar, fantastic player. Yeah. Never heard of him before we signed him. Never heard of him. Lilligan was an old-fashioned centre half who did a job. We needed him because that was the season that Adams wasn't playing, wasn't it, for a bit?
He went to prison, yeah.
And David Seaman.
He was held
I
up,
remember watching David Seaman play us in a cup for QPR. He was unbelievable. I think we drew 0-0 because of Seaman. We hit him with everything.
They beat us 2-0, didn't they? They beat us,
did they? Did they beat?
Yeah.
He was unbelievable.
Yeah, he was.
And
David Seaman was saying last night, because I was on the members virtual quiz last night, and he was saying the deal itself would have gone through a year beforehand, but John Lucas refused to leave that summer. It was so it was held back a year. But yeah, even you can see that in the league, 18 goals in the league, and that's huge because when he comes in, obviously the fans, he's knocking out a fan favourite as number one as well for goalkeeper, and the fans weren't happy about it. They made it clear that's like we don't need Seaman. We've got John Lucas, because obviously John Lucas was John Lucas at the time. He was that. But again, George Graham was thinking ahead now. Like need another young up and coming goalkeeper. David Seaman fit that profile, and also we got longevity out of David as we're going to go on now because that was 91.
He paid £1 million for him, didn't he, at the time? It was about £1 million.
Yeah,
what value that was.
He was the first £1 million goalkeeper, I think, wasn't he? David?
Yeah, I think he was. Yeah.
And also between 89 and 91, obviously Perry Groves and Kevin Campbell and others probably got given their chance in that two season period. So really, even though they talk of Kevin Campbell, we've had him on the channel before. Obviously, 89 meant so much because even though it was still coming through the academy at the time, it's still part of it. The whole squad as a whole that year. 91 would mean more because you really are part of your first team, or you're the one scoring the goals as well. You're having a collective input compared to 89. Plus, it was how we actually won the title that day, not even kicking the ball, because the results gone our way.
I was upset about it. I was actually upset about that because I actually wanted to see us win the league at Highbury by winning a game, and because of the TV, because of what had happened, obviously with us at Anfield, TV was showing all the games. They kicked Liverpool's game off against Nottingham Forest earlier before us. So what they should have done was play them games at the same time because it would have added to the drama. Instead, Liverpool played first and lost, so we'd already won the league. And yeah, it was great, but I actually would have preferred it if we'd had to win that game and won the league by winning the game. It would have been so much more exciting at Highbury to do it because we'd never won the league at Highbury since 1953. So it would have been nice to have actually been able to do it for real, actually by winning the game. So I was really upset by the TV. Actually, they ruined that for me. But obviously, it didn't take away what an achievement it was and what a great team it was.
I went up to Sunderland the game before.
Yeah, I did. The 0-0 draw. The 0-0 draw.
Game. What a shocking game. And I met my wife. I met my wife and my brother-in-law and sister-in-law in a restaurant that night. We flew down, went to a restaurant. It was empty. The restaurant. I was there very late. Got there like 10:10. It was silly. I shouldn't have really done it, but I said I don't want to miss out just because I'm on football. And in there was Frank McClintock in the restaurant, a local restaurant, a little restaurant. Frank McClintock. So I thought I can't go over his eating. I'm so excited, you know. Anyway, the end of the meal comes. And I go up to get my coat, and he's there. So I said, well, hi, Frank, lovely to meet you, blah, blah, blah. I said, I went up there today, He says, don't worry, you've got a good winger. You've got a good winger we're going to sign. I've got it, George. I've got a good winger for George. You know who it was? Jimmy Carter. But when we signed him, I thought, he looks like a good winger, this Jimmy Carter. He's quite nippy, isn't he?
Yeah, he done one against us for Millwall, didn't he? I remember him doing one against us previously. I'm thinking, he looks all right, yeah.
He was really good at Millwall, yeah.
Terrific. So I thought, thanks, Frank.
And also, come away from that season, in Tony Adams' own opinion, he came away as an invincible. He ties himself for that name to his thing, because obviously the one game that Arsenal do lose that season was when he was being held by Her Majesty's pleasure, shall we say.
Yes, he was. Yes,
we lost. So as far as he's concerned, he never lost a game.
And of course, let's remember as well, we did get 2 points deducted that season as well because the FA hated us even more back then.
Yeah, they really hated us.
So we actually had to come. I remember when they deducted the 2 points. I think we were something like 6 points behind Liverpool at that particular time in the season. And I remember thinking that, you know, the FA they don't want us to win the league clearly, and they wanted Liverpool to win it again. And I just felt as though we couldn't come back from that. And then not long after, Tony Adams obviously got sent to prison, and it was like to come back from all that adversity and win that league the way that we did that season, and to do it in such style was just incredible, really. And when you look at that squad of players, you look at that team, again, it's got a lot of Arsenal Academy players in it as well. Some really good signings from George, as we said. I mean, was you at that game, Melvin, at Norwich, the end of the season before, when we were all chanting for Lukic to stay? We didn't want him to go. Do you remember that last game of the season?
Not the last game. No. Was that the 91 you're talking about? No, it couldn't have been.
No, the season before. So it was like 89-90 season, the last game, when we knew John Lukic was going to probably leave, because I think that
I don't remember that.
He hadn't come yet. No. All the Arsenal fans were cheering for John Lukic, and we didn't want David Seaman. And how stupid did we look a little bit later?
My favourite goal, the 91 season, it was a very important goal, obviously, and I loved it, was the Merson goal at Anfield, when he did a 1-2 with Alan Smith. Yeah. He runs to the crowd and gives the old
pitch as well. What a horrible pitch that was, wasn't it? It was so bobbly. Yeah. And when he's running through, he could hardly get the ball under control. It was just bobbling about on the pitch, but he managed to do it, didn't he? And just roll it past Grobbelaar. It was just. I was in the Liverpool that day. I nearly got killed, but it was worth it.
Absolutely loved Paul Merson. Paul Merson was just such a good player. I mean, what a player
he was my absolute idol.
So beautiful to watch. His hair used to just flow behind. I loved the way he ran. Like his running style, his hair was just like flowing behind.
He was my absolute idol.
Brilliant, wasn't
he? He went through one season where he must have chipped about 7 or 8 goalkeepers. He had this little trick of his.
Every week,
He's unbelievable.
I was on yesterday, the day before, and someone put up a clip from the goal he scores after the 89-90 season at Anfield. I think it was that season or the night. And make that goal, literally, he picks up deep, right deep in our own half, and he just runs with it on the wing, and then cuts inside and does Grobbelaar again, like literally passes it into the net. Like, that's the sort of quality player he is. And then I am surprised, even though I knew the answer last night in the first quick, as we touched on in the WhatsApp group, but obviously he missed out by one goal in the 100 group and all that. One goal missing out. Yeah. That's mad. The sort of quality player he was and how long he was at the club.
I went to, before the season started, there was the Makita International Trophy at Wembley. Yeah. And that's when Seaman and Limpar made their debuts. And I was so excited that day when Limpar was playing, because I didn't know anything much about it at all in those days. Obviously, you only had CFAX, you had Club Call, and when it happened on the back pages of the paper, and when this guy came onto the pitch, Anders Limpar, it was so exciting because we didn't have any players like that. We didn't have international players, and there was hardly any in the league. And it was like I called it at the time, it was like an exotic signing from Sweden.
Yeah.
But the goal
he scored a goal, didn't he? In that Makita.
Oh my God!
He smashed it in, didn't he, from an angle?
Aston Villa scored it.
Really tight angle from outside the box. And he just looked up and he hit it, and it went like an arrow. No bend on it, or nothing. It just went straight into the far corner. And I thought, oh my God, I'm gonna literally, gonna soil myself here, because I was just so excited. He's like something we never had.
And also, Mark says it Mark says it in the chat here as well. Watching him on Harry's Heroes, he's still better than half our present midfield. I watched him when they did that Grenfell charity match at QPR, and he was hitting passes and Hollywood passes like he was in his pomp, basically.
Yeah, he was class. He was pure class. He made so many goals free and right as well, didn't he?
And in response to, sorry, go on.
I was devastated when he left. I didn't know he left until I walked past the newsagents and I saw it on the back of the paper that he'd gone to Everton, and I nearly cried. I genuinely nearly cried, because there was no rumours in those days. Nothing.
Nothing like it is nowadays.
He wasn't in a lot of game time, though, was he? At the end,
no, he wasn't. John Brown didn't fancy him, did he? He didn't fancy his work rate or whatever it was, and he just never picked him, did he? He only picked him very occasionally when he had to, Yeah, it was a shame the way it ended, actually, because for like about 18 months, Limpar was just an amazing player for us. And that game during that season at Coventry away, where it was 0-0, and we've been struggling to score, and it looked like it was going to finish 0-0, about 5 minutes to go. And he scored 2 from outside the box in the last 5 minutes, and we won 2-0. And that just, that was summed up that season for him perfectly. That, he just pinged things out of the blue from nowhere, and just incredible player, absolutely incredible player. Yeah, that goal. That was one of the best goals I've ever seen live. Actually, that was just incredible.
It was.
Yeah, literally marking the church saying Limpar's goal against Liverpool at Highbury from the halfway line. Yeah, I mean, that's an amazing squad. And then obviously we didn't go for a 7-year period of not competing or being competitive on a league title basis. And then Arsene came along. In his first full season, he does our second double in our history. And look, Ian Wright, Ian Wright literally comes in that summer, it was around 91 for the 91-92 season. So he's been waiting all the way up to this point in 98 to win a title. And he
just missed out, didn't he?
Yeah, he just missed out.
What a kit that is, by the way. What a kit that is.
I love that kit.
Beautiful kit.
Sexy, isn't it?
Yeah, look at Louis Balamorte, Bergkamp in the background where Seaman is, young Patrick Vieira, Dicko, Gilles Gourmandi, Christopher Ray as well, Mark Overmars, David Platt. David Platt. Yes, I can see his head. Yeah.
Stephen Hughes is in there as well.
Yeah, Steve Hughes is behind Balamorte. Yeah. That was the start of the Wenger revolution, because out of nowhere he's changed everything at Arsenal. Because obviously he came in where the players were eating Mars bars, the dieting weren't right. He weren't happy with that. And they're drinking as well, because obviously the Tuesday club, as the players put it very hard on, like the Tuesday club. Hey, right. And then what was it, that 97-98 pre-season? They did their pre-season training and all that. And Wenger said, you've worked really hard. You can all out do what you want to do. And Ray Parler said, we've got out. Obviously, Gilles Commander came to us basically and said,
did a few lines in front of him.
Can I come with you? And sort of learn your sort of culture, what you do in your spare time and things like that. He was making an effort, and I was like, "Oh yeah, no problem." Steve Bowles gone to the bar, and like, "What do you want?" He wants a white, a red wine or whatever. They got him a red wine, and then got him literally like Sambuca Chasers, you name it, and they're like, "There you go, 14 of everyone."
The full story was he went to the bar and he goes 35 pints and a red wine.
Yeah, that was it. And a red wine.
And he goes, "Who else is coming?" He goes, "No one. Why?"
Just us. There was only like 6 or 7 of them. And then after that,
pints and a red wine.
And then they moved on to another bar. And I think it was like the 4th or 5th bar down the line. They bumped into the French players, the Vieiras, and they're all outside having a fag, smoking. And Parler's like thinking to himself, "How the fuck are we going to win a league title?" And obviously they're going to win the double. But also players like Nelka had just been brought through as well. Like he'd been brought into the club, and the excitement there from him. Bergkamp was our top goal scorer that year. He missed out in the FA Cup final because of injury. But we had it was just an amazing team, a collective of the George Graham era of Seaman, the famous back five of Keown and all that. And he sort of integrated these players. He got the balance right. And what was the biggest moment in that time was that 11-game unbeaten run, winning streak when we went on to get to that Everton game and win that title there. Considering we were like 11 points off United going into April or something like that.
Yeah, Christmas. What took us to the next level from the season before as well, not only what he did Wenger with the training and everything else, is he brought Overmars in. That gave our game a whole new dimension.
Yeah,
that he was one of the main reasons we didn't come third or fourth. That's one of the main reasons we actually won it, I think.
Yeah, the goals he scored put us in the position to win that title. And the FA Cup final as well. Gamble. Oh, massive gamble, yeah.
He'd had 2 cruise ships, hadn't he? 2 cruise ships.
That's right, he had trouble with his knee. Yeah.
So no one would touch him. So it was a massive gamble. What a player he was.
Andrew, how fast would he have been if he had good knees?
Fuck.
Oh, mate. You feel like Roadrunner.
Yeah, he was unbelievable, Mark Overmars.
He was arguably my favourite player back then in that sense, because Even the FA Cup final, the goal he scores in the FA Cup final itself. Obviously, Nelga scored a goal, but his goal, he just gets the ball and runs with it. He weren't afraid to get the ball, just run with the ball, and then cut inside and do things like that.
He was another player. He was another player who stepped up in the big games, wasn't he? He always scored in the games that mattered. The FA Cup final, that game against Man United that season, and he always seemed to, when we needed a goal, the 2 goals against Everton when we won 4-0 to win the league, he stepped up in them big games. Mark Overmars, absolutely fantastic. Another one is quite underrated for us actually, because I just thought he was an unbelievable player. He was for 2 or 3 years at Arsenal. He was fantastic.
Also,
there wasn't there long enough, I suppose.
One of the big games that he scored, I think he scored a couple in, or we needed. It didn't look like we were going to score all day. Home to Leeds. Remember that game?
Yeah.
And he scored 2. Yeah. He just did it himself. He had no help. He just did it himself.
Yeah.
He was. I remember that game he played against West Ham at home in the first half. He got, he ripped
him to pieces, didn't he? That night. Yeah, absolutely.
My God, it was embarrassing.
But as soon as he got whenever we got a ball and started running out of defence, you knew something. Either he was going to score or he was doing an assist. And as James says in the chat, the bookies should never have paid out that season when United won in that league.
They were so arrogant, though. How arrogant was that? Serves you right. Absolutely.
Exactly.
It just made it even better, didn't it?
Yeah, it just made it even better. But we had goals all over.
At Christmas, we were 6th place that season at Christmas.
Yeah.
And no one thought we had a chance. I remember we drew a game 0-0 against West Ham. It was about February time, March. About this time of the year it was. And we drew 0-0 at West Ham when I thought we had to win that game. If we didn't win, I remember going to the game and saying to me, mate, if we don't win tonight, the title's over, really. And we drew 0-0. We didn't play particularly well. And we're going home on the train thinking, no, that's it, it's gone. The title's gone. And yet suddenly from there, we won our next 10 games in a row and won the league. It's just incredible. How we turned that around, I still don't know how we did it. Because we didn't look like we could score a goal and win a game at one point in that season. We were struggling, really struggling. And so we dropped down about 6th place, and suddenly we just went on
then it clicked. Then we just clicked, didn't we?
Yeah, it all clicked.
It took a while for Overmars to get going. Overmars was a bit slow. It took a little while to get going, but once he got going, no one could handle him. Not one player in the league could handle Mark Overmars or Nicholas Anelka. Because don't forget about him. He was one of the quickest players you've ever seen in your life, and all. I
thought Overmars, when he scored the winner against Manchester United at Old Trafford, he could have easily had 2 or 3 more. He was so unlucky. And he got brought down in a box. Should have had a penalty against United, I know. But
that's right,
he killed the fullback that day at United. Absolutely killed him.
I remember him saying that game, it kicks off at 11:15 in the morning, right? For some reason, I don't know exactly why now, I can't remember. But we'd gone up the night before because it was such an early kickoff. And I remember Overmars saying after the game, he was sort of asked about it. This was a while later. And he said that, some of the players weren't really happy about the early kickoff. But he goes, I loved it because he said, I hated getting up in the morning and waiting for the game. I just like to get up and go and play the game. So he said that game was perfect for him. And that was the best game he ever had for us. Like you said, he should have got but he just couldn't live with him. He absolutely ripped him to pieces.
Yeah, and I love that celebration as well. The sort of taking the piss out of Cantona.
Cantona.
Yeah.
Sort of got the collar up and went, the infamous celebration night.
Absolutely brilliant.
Mark Overmars was brilliant.
I'd love him to come back to the club. I'd love him to come back as the director of football.
He'd be too slow now, Andrew. Too slow.
We say that. God.
No, he'd be great to come back as the director of football, wouldn't he? He still loves the club.
Yeah, you can tell he's still loves the club as well.
No problem. I really do.
Yeah, he was a fantastic player. One of the greatest players we've ever had, I think. And again, he's another one that's maybe a little bit underrated. He's not talked about in like the top players that we've had, is he? And I think that what he did for us in such a short period.
As long as Richard, is that because he never had a long career? Do you think?
Maybe.
That's right.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think
maybe.
When Arsenal did that, the deal that they've done now, the Emirates, and they've put like the legends outside and on the walls where the badge and all that is around the stadium. I was when initially put it up. I was surprised it was Overmars because again he had such a contribution to that 98 team. Because he did have such a contribution to that 98 team. Let's be honest.
Yeah. I mean, it's not often, is it? Being Arsenal over the years, how often is it that we've had a player that was a top player in world football before we signed them? Not often we've done that. Obviously, Bergkamp was one, probably the first one I can remember. And Overmars was another one of them players, wasn't he? Because I know he had a couple of injuries, but he was a top player before we bought him. And it was so great to have a player like that signed for Arsenal. I was so excited when we bought him, and then to go on and do what he did. And I say he's almost slipped under the radar a little bit, really, which is a shame because he was a world-class player. Definitely, he was a world-class player before we bought him, and he became even better when we had him, and he went on to still become a world-class player afterwards. So yeah, fantastic. Mark Overmars, just unbelievable. I can't speak enough of him. I just thought he was amazing. Honestly, amazing.
I said this before. I think that's the only thing my opinion is the same as what Melvin said, that he didn't have a long career with Arsenal. It shouldn't make much of a difference because, I agree with you as well, Rich, because he was a world class. I mean, he wasn't like as big a signing as Bergkamp because of his injuries, I think.
Yeah, it wasn't a big signing.
Tempered it a bit, didn't it? It tempered the signing because of his injuries. I mean, everyone was a bit worried about him, but he was just a bigger name. He was a world class player.
Yeah,
he
was. Definitely.
One of the things I got right, not many. I said we were on holiday and it was some game was on, and it was Holland were playing and Overmars was playing, and we were just getting a bit of steam up as a team. Then I said to Jerome, if we sign him, we'll win the league. I had no reason we're going to sign him. I just thought this geezer is unbelievable. I said, if we sign a player like him, we'll win the league, and we did. We signed him that summer, and I just thought, wow. And there was a problem with his knee. But I didn't think it ever made any difference to his career at Arsenal, not at all. In fact, so much so that Barcelona had him a few years later.
Yeah, with Petit as a double deal sort of thing. Yeah. But then we thought sort of going away from that. Sadly, we had to wait another 4 years. A bit of a lesser span out of all the teams that we've had to go with. Obviously, from 71 to 89 to 18 years, then 7 years. Then we try to get down to 4 years, and the double winners, our latest double winners are the third in our history. The first team in London, by the way, to do 3 double winning teams. So it's Tottenham mistake that with some notes
in London to do it 3 times.
Yeah. But look again, the team he assembled between that and then 4 year period, because obviously we're getting so close yet so far. Perez in his second season. This is his second season with Perez. He was quality that season. David Seaman as well, his infamous ponytail he started growing out that year. The year before, and Edu, Bergkamp, Lee Dixon just retiring, Richard Wright, Carnu, Viltort, Sqaud just establishing himself as our left back and a world class left back at that. Martin Keown, Matthew Upson. To name a few, I think even was it Gary Lewin there, the T-shirt, the 71, 98, 2002 T-shirt there. Lawrence and beyond the trophy, and obviously you got Henry, Vieira's, and all that as well.
Freddie with his red hair.
Freddie with his red hair as well. Freddie. As I touched on before, Robert Perez that season, this is his second season, and he was, arguably, think about the difference. He was phenomenal.
Yeah, he, despite getting an injury, didn't he? Towards the end, he did his cruciates. He missed the World Cup, didn't he? But he got football of the year. He was just incredible that season, wasn't he? Brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, all the players went like that to him. Do you remember at the end of
he was last
shows how they thought he was.
They literally all on in front of him. On then, literally how much.
And he played against the big teams as well. Against Liverpool away, did
Liverpool
he?
Away,
Very important goals.
Yeah, he got the assists.
Gerrard, he showed him the ball. So Gerrard, I'm going to get it now for you now. Just when he passed, then he stopped Gerrard, just went past him and crossed it. I mean, he was an amazing player. And however good Henry was unbelievable. A lot of that was down to Perez, the way he played him in and all that time.
Perez has almost slipped under the radar a little bit as well when you talk about the greatest players, because Bergkamp and Henry and Vieira in that team get all rightly so, but Perez was up there, wasn't he? He was fantastic.
Easily top 5 greatest Arsenal players, I think. He's got to be top 5.
Up there, there's no doubt. He was fantastic.
Brilliant.
He used to hit the ground running that season, because the first season, even instead, because I was watching that the Sky's version of Gogglebox with Gary Neville and all that, whatever they called it. And he was saying that first season he found it hard to bed in. It took him a while, but once he got going, that second season especially, he hit the ground running. He was something else. And as James says, that goal,
people will be slating that first season.
Oh yeah, we'll look at Pepe for crying out loud. But Perez's goal, this is the main one. The Perez goal against Villa away at Villa Park as well. The lob, even though as he says, sparkles on the end of his career and all that, it's still to have the audacity to do that against any goalkeeper. And
well, he done to the defender before he lobbed him. He did the defender. He lobbed the defender, didn't he?
Yeah,
Over the defender.
Took it, lobbed it over the defender, and then literally just went it looks so delicately. Yeah, he does it as well. He's got the smallest of touches in the sense of power-wise. It's just a boom. But was it Boateng? I think it was something like that for Villa. It was absolutely.
Whoever it was probably gave up football after that.
Yeah, and then what was it?
Yeah.
Again, we all go back to that season as well. It was his pass that led to the Bergkamp goal we all talk about to this day. We've lost.
It was a great pass, but yeah.
We lost Richard. He's had enough. Boateng, was it? Boateng wasn't. Yeah, mugged him off and then mugged Smarkle. Yeah, Boateng.
Yeah, exactly.
But if anyone listens to the Quickly Kevin Woody Sqaud podcast, which is really, really funny, recommend it. They always talk. There's a running theme throughout the last 2 or 3 seasons of that podcast about Peter Schmeichel getting lobbed, and the amount of times he did, and he's been lobbed so many times, but that was one of the best. I mean, it's just a brilliant goal.
Yeah, pick up Mark in the chat as well. So Perez's ball control was unreal, so relaxed, but yet so effective. And he sort of
goal as well, couldn't he? Hit a ball, curved that far post so many times. Beautiful thing to watch. His first touch as well was superb.
I said it before when we first bought him, and he was having a difficult start. I literally said, what the hell have we got here? Because of the way he ran as well, he's got like the duck. I used to call him like a duck run. There was feet sticking out, bit of a bandy leg. He had a really funny running style, and I thought, what the hell is this? I couldn't have been any more, wrong at that point. He was just, like I said, for me, he is probably top 5 of Arsenal players of all time with the quality that guy had. And when he came back from his ACL, I think he was even better. If it's possible. I think
he changed the way he ran, didn't he? He changed the way he ran after his injury to maybe to ease the pressure on his knee. I don't know, but he was even better. Yeah, he sort of had to play in a different style, but it made him a better player, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely. And then obviously we had the heartache of the 02-03 season. We were so close to defending our title for the first time in our history, but we fell just short of the last couple of weeks of the season, and we come back. And then in that 02-03 season, he said, Arsene Wenger, he believed this squad was good enough to go a whole season unbeaten. And because we fell off the way we did, what a stupid thing to say. What the audacity. And then because of the way we fed off, it was just like he got slated on a media left, right, and centre, and rivalry fans, this, that, and the other. Only for us to then come back the following season and actually achieve it. We talk about that the 02 team as well, and most of them are in his obviously the 03-04 season, but he added to it as well. Jose Antonio Reyes in that season, rest in peace, obviously, God rest his soul.
Yeah.
The youngest player actually of that squad at the time, and he's the first. Yeah, that's heartbreaking itself. Sol Campbell,
tragedy.
Obviously, Freddie without the red hair as well, by the way, shaved his hair off that year. Gilberto as well, been added to the squad since then, since that double winning season. Then Zlayman came in that season actually to late in that pre-season to replace David Seaman, who had just left to go Man City. Stuart Taylor's backup goalkeeper, Mr. Band, somewhere around there. There he is. It was just, but again, Wenger and the football itself, the team took it to another level. They didn't just like they did that previous in '98. We lost the title, so we're not going to bother for that. We're going to take time to recuperate. It was, okay, we lost, but we're going to come back and we're going to prove a point now. And in the league,
I loved watching him.
Carnu was fantastic. He was massively underrated as well. Massively, in my opinion. But as I say, league-wise, the football as a whole was fantastic, but league-wise, they proved a point. They made sure they wanted to prove a point. And once they got the title and won it at White Hart Lane for the second time, and I actually being able to witness it myself, it was so bittersweet because of all places you couldn't make it out.
I was going that day, but we didn't win.
Oh, no, but
it sounds stupid.
Lehman had a rush of blood to the head,
I was
didn't
really
he?
disappointed.
yeah, Lehman,
For the first time.
yeah, Lehman started losing on the plot that
No,
day.
not for the first time. No.
Or the
Yeah,
last.
Yeah, sadly, but it is. But yeah, you know, but again, in the sense of the attacking intent of the football, the style of play, it was just another level up. But we're going to get into. There were sort of slight negative differences between that team and the O2 team in terms of when the pressure was on with this team when it comes to the crutch of it, when they were in for a treble, the Champions League, FA Cup as well. They sort of buckled under the pressure. They couldn't take it. It's only when obviously going into the Liverpool and getting that to put to one side, they sort of got themselves back on track and got themselves over the line. But when we played, it was a massive achievement to do what they did.
Fantastic. And when we played United away, look who was missing. I think it was Bergkamp, Henry, and Adams, wasn't it?
Bergkamp was out injured. Adam retired. He retired after 2002.
We had three big players missing. It was Bergkamp, Henry,
Torre.
Yeah, probably.
So, that's right.
And then Vieira got sent off because Van Nistelrooy ghost.
No, that wasn't that game. What we won.
Oh, what we won?
No. I'm talking about the game when we beat them 1-0. When Wiltord got the winner.
You're thinking 2002. You're getting confused, Melvin.
I'm getting old.
I'm getting old.
I'm getting old.
The Wiltord game. There was we had a few players missing for that game. Yeah, we did. Henry was missing and that.
Because we just played the FA Cup final 4 days prior to that.
That's it. Yeah.
Henry was injured.
Keanu missed out the FA Cup final, but he was told he'll be playing in the Thursday game. Parder. He was still hungover.
It was the wrong year there, Melvin. But yeah.
Am I doing the right team? It is Arsenal we're talking about, isn't it, tonight?
Yeah, of course. But we've gone on.
I'm not losing it completely then. Good.
Gone on to the Invincible, but obviously, Ray Parder, that infamous story of winning the FA Cup, going back home, getting back into London and all that, going back home with his at the time partner and his family, going out for a meal, getting absolutely lashed in the local restaurant, and obviously Arsenal players had a reputation, so I would say, for getting a bit of a rowdy atmosphere, so I would say when things were going well. So then obviously he's then gone on to the local bar near where he lives and he's growing up and all that. They've all had a tenner put there at the score and all that put on him to score first goal score. So they're like, the drinks are on us. So literally he's then gone into next day to warm down. Absolutely, but literally Wenger has kept. Thankfully Wenger was keeping away that day. He did a warm down, and he was still sort of having the after effects come Wednesday night. I think it was that night that year. But he played in midfield alongside, I think it was Edu against Keane and whatever. But he got man of the match. He was hungover and he got man of the match.
and Wenger said,
"You can't have a beer."
Didn't he, after the game? He goes, "You know why he did that?
Because I took that beer away from him." Yeah, because I took that beer away from him on the plane.
He goes, "Oh, thanks, Gaffer. You're the best." Something like that.
Can't get one over on
you. John in the chat there, Lauren as well. Lauren replacing Dixon from after the O2 season, fully, like full time wise. He was a good replacement.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Stephen with Arsenal's Invincibles were the top side. Well, we were the top side, but we as I said, there were little negatives you could sort of touch on where the pressure, as I said, the pressure got onto them right at the key stage of near the end of the season. We expect them to kick on. And they did sort of buckle a bit, and it sort of got to them. They couldn't take it. But when the FA Cup and Champions League sort of got put to the side, and they got that Liverpool game back on the right tracks, they then we're going for it now. It took for Keane. Keane even said in that half time at home to Liverpool when we were losing 2-1, he said he asked Arsene, "Can I have a word with the players and try and boost them up and do my bit?" And he said, "Yeah, no problem." He actually said, You're letting something go by. This is something that's unique that can never be done. We might not ever get this opportunity again. And he had known his time at Arsenal was coming to an end anyway. But this is a once in a lifetime. You need to sort of get your head at your backsides and turn this around. And they did. And they came out like a team possessed in that second half. And we actually tore Liverpool to pieces in that second half.
Henry was.
And I think that was a start of Henry's sort of mini bit of form, because he then suddenly got a hat trick in that game. But 7 days later against Leeds, got a hat trick. He was just scoring goals after goals all of a sudden.
Yeah. It's a mad comment that James has made. I only heard about this about a week ago. The one about it's mad that the Invincible season.
Yeah,
goes on.
Totally agree.
Have you seen that?
Oh yeah, no, this one.
That one's a mad. He's right. It's mad.
It's mad that in the Invincible season, the team of Jens, Lauren, Sol, Torre, Cole, Vieira, Gilberto Perez, Lundberg, Bergkamp, Henry only played once.
That's mental. Sorry.
It is, isn't it?
Just shows what the squad was, though, wasn't it? Players who didn't play regular, like Parla, Keown, and whoever else it was, Wiltord, could come in and still do a job.
Still do a job. He didn't. And you didn't see the dip in quality, because, as you said, they stepped up, them players. I mean, Viltor scoring that goal in 02, back in 02 as well, to see all the checks.
For me, right, that 03-04 season, it was an unbelievable season. Of course, it was. But the reason why we managed to go unbeaten is because it's a once in a lifetime kind of thing where you've got a squad of players. And out of your maybe 17, 18 players, you've got maybe 10, 11 of them are at their peak at the same time. And that's why that happened. We were just fortunate that those players all came together at the same time and all reached their peak in that one season together. Almost I thought Liverpool were going to be a similar thing last year, but obviously it wasn't, because they tailed off. But that team there for that whole season, well, it's for about 18 months, wasn't it?
18-month period, yeah.
They were all at their peak at the same time. All the best players, Vieira, Perez, Henry, Bergkamp would probably pass his best, but so many of them in that squad. It was Sol Campbell, Torre, they were all at the peak of their career. And if you notice, after that, they started to go down slowly. Each one of them did, because they'd reached their peak all at the same time. And you never get that very often, do you? You're very, very rare. You get a team that are all at that same stage of their career at the same time, all playing together. And that's why that's happened. And Wenger obviously knew it, because he did say the year before he thought we could go unbeaten, because he knew that he had these great players that were about to hit their peak. Unfortunately for him, he got it wrong, a year wrong, but he knew he knew it was coming, because he saw them every day. And that's what it was. It was just unbelievable. And that will never happen again for that reason, because to get that many great players all at the same point in their career at the same time, at the same season, is never
very unusual. I remember one, I don't know what game it was. We scored a goal. We all said, yeah, great. And my son was next to me. I went, Jerome, says, remember this, you'll never see football like this again in your life. And he thought I was mad. Well, I am mad. But he understands now.
I honestly said that to myself. I've said it before. That's exactly what I said to myself this season. I'm going to pinch myself, because I cannot believe that this football, it's not going to last forever. I have to take it all in. I remember saying it to myself. It was just incredible to watch. And one of the moments of the season was when, again, another brilliant Ray Parlour story, when he told Keown to get warmed up I think that's probably my favourite Arsenal story of all time. When he's just brilliant. He stripped off all his kit to pretend he was going on, and he got Wenger around the throat. Martin Keown did. Yeah, that was at Leicester game. Can you honestly imagine being in that squad with all these players? I mean, it'd just be, but alongside got Henry, Bergkamp, Perez. You've also got players like Ray Parlour and Keown, and the characters that they had as well. It would have been just the best dressing room, I think, ever, wouldn't it? I mean, what I wouldn't have given to be part of that. I mean, I just feel, honestly, I feel a little bit sad when I think about it as well, because that sort of thing, like you said, Rich, it's never going to happen again. I don't. No,
but that's why you see.
Lifetime team, isn't it?
Yeah, no, but so don't feel sad. Feel privileged and happy that we were able to witness that, because no one else is going to be lucky enough to witness that. We have. So I'm never sad. When I look at that team, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I was able to. It came at the time when I was able to see it, and not in the 1930s or whatever it was before, or it doesn't come in the next 50 years when I'm not here. I'm glad I was around to witness that. Not just that, but that whole era that we talked about tonight, pretty much the whole lot of it I think I've been lucky enough, and Melvin maybe more so, to be an Arsenal fan in the time that we've been Arsenal fans. We've been lucky and privileged and fortunate.
Oh, Melvin was there in the 30s as well.
Those times, well, yeah, but that's what I mean. Melvin's experienced a lot more. But you know, we've all been lucky enough to have witnessed what will always be some of the greatest moments in the history of the club ever, and they're never going to be matched or beaten. So I say the future generations I feel a bit sorry for, because I doubt they're going to experience half of what we have, and I feel a bit sorry for them that they're not going to do that, because it's a shame, because we know how great it is and what great experiences they've been in our lives as well, you know, and it's been amazing, and I'm just so grateful that you know, Arsenal wasn't a club that I was given, if you like. It wasn't in my family or anything so much, you know. It was a decision in a way that I kind of came to myself when I was young, and I'm so pleased that I did, and so grateful for everything that I've witnessed, and on the back of that, really, for like 40 odd years. It's been fantastic.
Yeah.
James, what block were you in the East Upper? I want to know what block James was in the East Upper. Yeah, a season ticket in the East Upper. Tell me a block, James. I was block D.
The East Upper, right? Wow.
Oh, blimey.
I only ever watched one game in the East Upper, Melvin. It was a testimonial. Nigel Winterburn's it was, against Rangers.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Yeah, Andrew, you're saying before we go on to give our own opinion on who we think, in our opinion, was the greatest out of them teams. Well, you was going to say something, wasn't you? So, yeah, you was about to say something when Melvin asked him.
Oh, I've forgotten now. But I'm happy to go on to that subject. I'm happy to go on to that subject.
I think we'll start with the birthday man himself, Melvin. Who, out of obviously this from 71 till 2004, your top two teams, who are they and why?
Well, the 71 team has got to be in there for nostalgia reasons. If we hadn't won anything for years, I know we won the Fairs Cup the years before, but you felt a bit closer to the club, a bit closer to the players and everything. And that for me, it was like I went to so many games that season, home and away, that I felt so happy watching every game. It was so exciting. So that for me is my favourite team, one of my favourite teams. And the other one, it was the one where we won 1-0 at Man United when Wiltord scored the winner. That team, because not only were we a fantastic football team, we were gutsy, we were strong. They couldn't outplay us at football teams. They couldn't kick us off the pitch. They basically had not, they couldn't do it. And those are my two favourite teams.
Yeah, 2002. And also, I like that away kit that year, the gold kit with a bit of blue in it and a bit of red trim.
Yeah, it was nice. That gold kit was lovely.
James is in the chat. He's saying for him, it's a 98 team for him. They should have gone and done more. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Brownie, who's joined us, a Cardiff fan, he's saying for him, no doubt, George Graham's 89 team. John in the chat says 89 was most enjoyable for him, but he thinks, in his opinion, the 98 squad was better. And James also goes on to say, we should have done the double again the following year in 98-99. But Giggs a shitbag, as he puts it, did what he did. But yeah, Bergkamp missed that penalty as well, didn't he? That cup semi-final. So
oh, that was sickening. It was sickening.
I mean,
I felt angry. I was so angry that day.
Yeah, but Melvin, I've still got to say, right, and I know that the result didn't go well that night, but that's probably the greatest game I've ever been at live. Just the greatest game of football. It was just unbelievable.
There's a replay as well. Yeah.
No, I'm talking about a replay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The replay.
The replay was the best game I've ever been to. It was just, it was two teams at the peak of their powers on that particular season, and it was just going for it, both teams. It was just brilliant to watch. Unbelievable atmosphere. It was just fantastic.
Yeah. With that, Richard, what are your top two?
For me, the top one, and I know again it might be a little bit different to Melvin. Actually, my top team was the '91 team, for two reasons really. One, because it was an evolution of the '89 team. That '89 season was more like winning a cup final. We had a good season, obviously, but that game, we won the league in a cup final. Whereas in '91, it was a whole season of just unbelievable football, and one defeat in that season. It was the core of the '89 team, just a couple of new players added to it, the team, and obviously in goal, Limpar, as we've said. And it was a better version of the '89 team. And it was just so good to watch. We scored goals. We didn't concede any goals. It was just, I went to nearly every game that season, home and away, and maybe that might be why as well. I just thought that team was just unbelievable, and to go that close to going unbeaten as well, all them years before we finally did it, is just unbelievable. So that was my favourite, and it's all players that came through our academy as well. You know, Rocastle, Kevin Campbell came in that season, Merson, you know,
very close.
Tony, but it was just fantastic time to be at Arsenal actually. And then if I was going to pick a second team, it would be the '98 team. Just you know, Mark Overmars, Patrick Vieira, Dennis Bergkamp, you know, at his pomp, and you know that was just a great team, and that was our first Premier League title as well. And after winning the league in '91, we'd gone on a bit of a downward thing, and I was kind of getting to the stage thinking, are we ever going to win the league again? And we'd never won the Premier League, so to win the Premier League, and we actually did do it that season at Highbury by beating Everton. We did actually have to win the game to win the title, which unfortunately in '91 it got taken away by the TV. But that year we had to win that game against Everton, and that day beating Everton 4-0 was probably my greatest experience at Highbury, just because of the whole, you know, winning the league there at Highbury for the first time properly, and that was just unbelievable. And that team had just started to win the double as well, to be at the cup final a couple of weeks later and see us win the double. You know, I dreamt of that. You know, the '71 team, I was only 2 years old when that happened. So I'd read about it a lot, and it was always there, team winning a double. I never thought I'd ever see Arsenal win the league anyway, let alone be in a position to win the double. So that season would be up there as well. And it's just a shame in '91, if we could only have beaten Spurs in that semi-final and won the double that year, it would have been, yeah. But, you know, them two, it's difficult to separate '91 and '98 for me, but that whole era, the 1990s was the best decade to live, I think, personally. You know, football in it for Arsenal was just brilliant, the amount of trophies that we won. And those two seasons, it's hard to separate. I'd probably go to '91 just because it had so many of my favourite Arsenal players in it, I guess. But yeah, '98 was fantastic as well. I mean, I've loved them all, but, you know, if I had to pick two, it'd be those two.
Yeah. And before we go on to Andrew, before we go on to you quickly, we're going to go. Stephen in the chat saying, despite the Invincibles, he says his was '98.
Yeah.
Mark in the chat says '91, closely followed by '98.
There you go. Well. Same as me, Mark.
John saying happy birthday to Melvin. But yep, Andrew, your
just to save time, literally just copy and paste everything that Richard just said and put it on mine. And that, I'm really pissed off, to be honest, because that's literally exactly the same word for word. I couldn't put it. Honestly.
Oh no, honestly, yeah. But
every single word that Richard just said, is what I was going to say. I couldn't agree more. I was. I have to say, when I was so disappointed. I mean, I love George Graham so
Tell
much.
Cheddars no one cares. Tell Cheddars no one cares about that. Tell him no one cares.
Yeah.
You say for me, so.
And then when he left, and because I think that 91 winning double side is probably the most underrated Arsenal team, definitely, and it's just it's a brilliant team, and I went to most of the home games. That's when I really started going every single week, because I was able to go on my own at that point, and you know, my mum would sort of let me off the reins and all that. But I went to most of the games. I really felt more of a part of it for a start, and the team. I mean, see the you know, that picture. I had that on my wall, I would say, for at least 10 years minimum before it actually got wrecked. And it would have stayed there if it weren't. I love that team. I love the kit. I loved everything about them. David Rocastle is my favourite player of all time. But when going on to the 98 one, when George Graham left, it felt like I'd lost a family member. Like it felt like my dad died or something, and I was just so disappointed. And then when we got Bruce Rioch in, it was just a disaster, and I was in mourning for that season. It was apart from the Dennis Bergkamp signing, which is phenomenal. But then when we got Wenger, I can't deny it. I saw him, and he wasn't anyone's first choice. Everyone was disappointed, if they're honest. Everyone was disappointed, and he didn't look the part. He looked like obviously, as everyone knows, like a professor. He didn't look like a football manager, and I thought, what are we doing? And then when we got to 98 and we won, I could not believe what I was starting to see. You know, the football, the transformation was just phenomenal from what we'd seen the couple of decades before. And it was just so exciting. It was new, Overmars, like I say, and Elka. No one could stop them in the league. They were just lightning. And the team was evolving right in front of our eyes, just phenomenally. It was just a complete turnaround, and I just couldn't believe that we've won the league so quickly again, because I couldn't see it happening for maybe, I don't know when, but I didn't think we were going to win the league again for years, and it was just so exciting that we actually did it that season. The way we did it, the way we came back and won that league, it was just exhilarating. And that we stole it away from them. Like I said, the bookies had paid out on Man United, and it was just such a beautiful, beautiful thing. So 91 for me, because it's the era I really started to go, and the team was just meant something to me so deeply. And then the 98 one, because I just never thought I'd see it again so quickly, and it was just a brilliant team to watch.
Well, gentlemen, thanks very much.
Yeah.
I've got to put my suit on now. All right.
It's happy birthday.
I really enjoyed
Happy
it.
birthday.
Happy birthday, Marvin.
Thanks, Richard. I'll see you tomorrow, Richard. See you, boys. See you the weekend.
See you the weekend.
Yeah.
Cheers, Melvin.
Thanks again. Bye.
Bye. I think I'll give my two again. Basically, none of us have actually, and this might cause controversy in the chat as well, or people watching this back, but I haven't touched the Invincibles either, for the reasons.
I mean,
you could eat it.
Generational thing. It's not taking anything away from any other of those teams. Any of them.
No,
they're all brilliant.
All fantastic teams. It's so hard.
So much, but it's a generational thing, and I think it's when what means so much to you when you started supporting them and all that sort of stuff. So it's nothing against any of the other teams, is it?
Every team we've covered, every title-winning team we've covered tonight, 71 onwards, they're all fantastic teams. They've all got fantastic players. There's no doubt. We've never disputed that. Hence why we did it the way we've done it and broke it down one by one. But for me, the 91 team and the 2002 team, the 91, because literally after obviously 89, the following year, the following season, we lose out the title to Liverpool. We come back. He gets a few players and gets the goalkeeper he wants, eventually David Seaman as well. But it takes football to another level. And as we've touched, it was pleasing on the eye as well. And the fact that we only lost one game that season, it was only because our captain, was been held by Her Majesty's people, so to say, for that one game, basically. But otherwise we could have had the Invincibles even earlier. And you could argue even then, the 91, that if they did do that, that'd still be a better team than the actual Invincibles, because the 91 team had guts. They had something about them. They gave everything in every game. They didn't allow the pressure. And even though we did lose that semi-final, it wasn't down to taking the opponent too lightly. I think it was just down to bad luck. And in fact, Paul Gascoigne was on the other team at the time. And Paul Gascoigne, being the player that he is, was in the form of his fucking life, basically. And obviously, the player he is as well, was being motivated by rumours that he was being told by his own teammates that we'd already got our cup final suits ready. We weren't taking them seriously. So he used that as motivation and things like that. There's nothing down to us. We weren't...
Let's face it, though. It was an incredible goal, but
it was incredible.
That would have missed. That 99 times out of 100, that wouldn't have gone in.
Oh
it's just one of those, nothing we could do about that.
Yeah, especially the way he hits it. As you said, 90 times out of 100, that's hitting the crossbar and coming back out and getting cleared. So it is what it is. And then 2002, I mean, the reason 2002 because I have a sort of a soft touch for the away kick, because I did really like that. But the team itself, again, has something about after 4 years of not winning the league title. We go into that season after being newly managed. There's a team he's assembled, and we hit the ground running. We away from home first game of the season to Middlesbrough, 1-4-0. A couple of days later, we're playing Leeds at home. We lose that 2-1 against, was it 9 men in the end? I think it was. I think Danny Mills got sent off in that game, but we lost that. You're thinking, oh, here we go. It's going to be a lot. But then again, it's like, no, okay, we went on a run of games of running, not losing and things like that. And it was just, what really rammed it home was the February to the end of the season period where we just won every game from Southampton. After Southampton at home, We drew 1-1, I think it was, or 2-2. After that game, we won every single game from the mid-February all the way to the end of the season, and it carried on to the following season. We set a record, but we broke our own record. That team broke the '98 record of winning streak, which has obviously gone on to be beaten recently a few times. But it was just fantastic, and it still had that bit of that hardcore. The David Seamans, Adams, Dixon was still there, Keown was still there, passing on that mentality of what it meant to be playing for the Arsenal to the foreign legion, shall we say, the foreign players, and they embraced it. These players embraced it that were coming in, and as we said before, Perez. I mean, out of all them seasons that I've been around, I can't remember a player that had that sort of form, and then had the misfortune near the end. Was it his ankle? His leg got broke. He couldn't. He was at the World Cup and everything. It was so harsh, but the reception he got when he got to lift that trophy from the players itself, not just the fans, but the players, to get on their knees and bow to him in the respectful way that they did, and show their appreciation for what he did that season, because he was just. He said that's the best form. That's his best season in his entire career. Full stop. And yeah, it's just fantastic. And again, to get that cup, I think, also for me when I went to 2002, because we not just won the league, we did the double as well. And again, not the 98 team, because 98 is also, for me, that'd be third. 98 team is third for me, just by the skin. It would, otherwise, if it weren't for 2002, 98 would be my team as well. But 2002, just because it was just great, fantastic football, fantastic players, and they went up again. It was just everything went up a gear. It was just fantastic. I mean, the Invincibles for me itself, if we're going to touch on it, not even my top four, if I'm going to be honest. There's nothing against it. It's just that the teams above them, the 91, the 2002, 98, and 89, them teams, them squads had a fight, something about them more than just, we're just going to get a title, we're just going to get over the line sort of thing. And that's what sort of holds it back.
Just quickly say one thing. One really small thing, and that is, I don't think they were bottlers. I think they were just overconfident. They're so good.
No, I'm not saying they're bottlers. I'm just
that they were going to win.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that's a good thing.
No, I'm not saying that.
It's still a mentality flaw, but I don't think that they were bottlers.
No, I'll never say they're bottlers. It was just at that key moment. It was literally, again, I mean, if you look at the opponents as well, I mean, the Man United semi-final, apart from Henry, it was our first team. I think they rested players as well. It was just frustrating because we, compared to them at that moment in time, were fucking smashing it basically, and they just get a tap in Paul's goals, and it just pissed me off that day. And then again, you'd think home advantage against Chelsea, and we were at the two teams. We had the European pedigree as well at the two, so you'd expect us at home to get the job done. We got the away goal, 1-1. Going to that second leg, we weren't 1-0 up as well in that game, and then suddenly second half we just fell apart. And I don't know why and what happened. That's half-time talk, because for some reason they come at a different team, and Chelsea got that early goal, and we all know what happened. And it's not, again, I'm not saying that, but it's just a thing that also, because it sort of carried over the confidence, because their heads went down a bit, and I was thinking, oh, here we go. Because of what happened the year before, that started seeping into. Henry's even said that it started seeping into their heads that maybe we're going to do it again. We're going to throw it away just when we have it in our hands. We're going to throw everything away, and then the media's going to hound them again for the second year in a row. Like they are the real throwing it away basically. And it's just, but the fact that they did come back in that second half. It was Keown saying what he said in this, that, and the other. They did get over the line of that. It's never take it away. That invincible season is something that will never be done. In my opinion, in my lifetime, I'll never see it. I think I'll never see that again. And for me, it's even better. Why I appreciate even more the invincible, the actual league season itself, is because Chelsea, Benefits comes in, throws money at Chelsea. They've come close once. Every other season they've won a title. They've been nowhere near. Man City, owned by a country, can't even do it. Yeah, you can have your Centurions. You brought your. And this is the thing. This is what really made me think, why not do this sort of podcast? Because a Chelsea fan put out a tweet saying Centurions or the Invincibles. And I said the Invincibles all day long, because the Invincibles team was built over time. It wasn't just all had money. It was just we had money and just threw it. We brought players on the periphery of potential world class, and we made them world class. I mean, Bergkamp, when we came from Inter Milan, he was on the cusp of being potentially world class.
He's the only one, I think, apart from maybe Mesut Ozil, that we actually bought as a world class player.
Yeah.
In our history, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and every other player we bought in that was a part of that Invincible squad itself. When we brought them in, they were had potential to be world class. They were having bad times at Henry, was at bad times at Juventus and things like that. And we brought them in, put an arm around them, and took them to that next level. We built that team to be at world class. The Sol Campbells of this world, and everything else. The Carlo Torres, Lenz Lehmann got brought into the race Seaman that season. Henry, when he came in, as I said, Lundberg came in as a striker, put it into a winger. Lauren, he came to us as a midfielder. He was converted into a right back. Within the space of 12 months, he was replacing Lee Dixon. So that's where I say the Invincible series, for the media itself, they underestimate and underappreciate that Invincible squad so much. It pisses me off but they praise Man City's the Man City side in that today. But Man City, from day one, have just gone and thrown money and bought world class players. They've not gone and got players that could have potential to be world class. It's always what's the best here and now, and they've gone and got it. Whereas we had to build it, and that's why I think we deserve so much more praise as a club for doing what we did and achieving what we did in that 18-month period, the double winning team and the Invincible team. But the media, being the media, don't want to do that because it's Arsenal. If it had been any other team in that circumstance doing what we did, they'd be still getting sung home literally 24/7, even to this day. I mean, we're 17 years down the line nearly, and it's still not been achieved, as I said. And I said, as I say, I don't think I've ever seen that. I'll never see a team in England go through a season unbeaten in my lifetime.
No.
But with that, I think
we're
going to move on.
To do it would have been Liverpool last. They were the only team I thought genuinely a bit worried that they could do it because they were like a machine. Yeah,
going into that.
And if they couldn't even do it, I find it hard to believe that it will ever happen.
Yeah, and that Liverpool team here, literally, I started believing as well that they were going to do it. They were not only going to go and beat it, but they were going to break the F49 record as well because they just looked unstoppable. Thank God. Any Watford fans out there, thank you. Thank your team for that. We appreciate you so much.
We beat them ourselves anyway, didn't we? So they wouldn't have gone unbeaten.
Yeah. Sorry. Oh, no, but yeah. But we're going to the last segment now quickly. We're going to go through somehow and make it a starting 11. What formation will I go with first? I don't know. Make an 11 and a bench of the players. They can, again, as you said at the top of the show, can only be the players that were in these title winning teams. They can't be players outside of it. So
I'd say personally 4-3-3 maybe. I think it'd be
4-3-3. Yeah.
So,
yeah. I'm fine with that. Yeah. You okay with that, Richard?
Well, I've got a team that's 4-4-2 because 4-4-2 is. I was brought up on 4-4-2 and I like 4-4-2. And most of our league titles have been won with a 4-4-2.
Well, we could do
to leave people out up front. That's the only thing I'm trying to do. But I do agree with you.
I've been brutal with my up front. I've been brutal because I've had to be. You've only got to get in the team, so I've had to be brutal. So I have. I've been brutal. I just binned them off. Sorry, but there you go.
We'll do a 4-4-2, and if you have time, if you want, we can do a 4-3-3 as well. So we can
do our own team as well if you want. Let's do our own team rather than a collective.
We can do both really if you want to. But yeah, if you want to, we'll do the collective afterwards. We'll go through the team that you've done individually first. Obviously, Richard, he's done his homework, so he can go first. 4-4-2.
Yeah, I've done my team, and they're all apart from one. I'll put one player in that I didn't personally see from the 71 team, just because I know how good he was, and I thought it's only right that he goes in. So my team of players that's won the league for Arsenal since 71 would be this: in goal, David Seaman. I don't think there's much argument about that from anyone. My back four: Lee Dixon at right back, The two centre backs will be Tony Adams and Frank McClintock, and the left back will be Ashley Cole. The four across midfield, on the right hand side, David Rocastle. In the centre, Patrick Vieira and Paul Davis, and on the left, Mark Overmars. And then the two up front, and this obviously was the hardest choice. I've left out so many of my favourite players, but if I had to pick a two, I've gone with Thierry Henry and the player who won 2 golden boots, Alan Smith. And that's my 11 of title winning. That's my title winning team. And I've had to leave out loads of players. I know that. So, people like Ian Wright and Robert Pires, Paul Merson, Bergkamp, Petit are all on the bench. Nigel Winterburn as well at left back, Freddie Lundberg. But yeah, I couldn't fit them all in. But I think that's got a good balance, that team. And I think that if they're all at their peak playing together, that team would win the league now.
Yeah. Actually, I know what formation Andrew? I'm going to do.
Yeah, go on,
I'm
Andrew.
going to do a 4-2-3-1. And that's to commemorate the upcoming title win under Arteta in the next couple of years. I'm going to go the back five of Seaman, Dixon, Adams, Sqaud, Winterburn, because that's the best back four. Well, I say back five that the country has ever seen, let alone Arsenal. And I don't think there's any doubt about that. It's the best defence. It's going to go somewhere. And that's not all the best players, but I think that's the best defence overall, the way they all work together. The two in front of them will be Vieira and Paul Davis. Paul Davis, again, we've said this word so often, so underrated. He would be one of the best defenders in Europe. He'd be one of the best midfielders in Europe now if he was to play in his prime.
Yeah, brilliant.
Absolutely fantastic. The three will be Rocastle on the right. This is a tough one. Perez on the left. And I'll put Dennis Bergkamp as the number 10 in the middle of the three.
Mm-hmm.
And up front, it's got to be Ian Wright for me. There's the one, the spearheaded the attack. He was just absolute joy to watch. I know he's not. I know you've got. You can't. How can you leave out Thierry Henry? What a player! But again, it's about feelings at the time and how much I absolutely adored Ian Wright. He was from my area. I mean, I grew up around the same area. His school were the biggest rivals of my school, for football. Him and David Rocastle, they were literally, in my area of South East London, and it's just the attachment and the way that he. The difference is, right, he absolutely adored playing for that club. When he pulled that shirt on, he would do anything to win that football match. And he absolutely loved having that shirt on his back. He was grateful for it. And I think it might have been him. I don't know if I said this on your show last time, Chris, because it's, and I might be wrong here, but someone said every week that I pulled on that shirt, I played my heart out to make sure I made the team next week for the next match.
Yeah.
And I think it might be Ian Wright, but again, I might be wrong when I say that. But that's the way he played anyway. Definitely, that's the value that he had. And I've got to go with him.
Yeah, I've gone for my team. I've got obviously Seaman in goal, childhood hero, bias or not. I mean, all the goalkeepers in every team were fantastic. Let's be honest, but Seaman for me is my goalkeeper for most of my life growing up, so that goes into it as well. And I've gone for a back four of Dixon, Adams, Frank McClintock, Ashley Cole. Let's be honest, Ashley Cole, putting aside what he did and what happened
in, best player in the world
in 06. He came through the academy. He came through our academy as an Arsenal fan, no matter what, even though he doesn't act like it now. And we made him that world-class player. He was a winger. We converted him to left back. We made him a world-class left back before he'd even left.
Yeah.
He was established on the world level.
Yeah, Ashley Cole is a brilliant player.
But massive. But also we got to say, obviously, when Winterburn would be in there otherwise.
Yeah.
Or
Winterburn's number 2 left back. Number 2, definitely.
Yeah. And then I've gone formation-wise. I've gone all over the place a bit really. But if I go with Overmars and Perez on the wings, Vieira in the middle, probably Charlie George, and then Bergkamp and Ian Wright. Again, that's Henry out of the equation, but at the same time, Bergkamp, he's a bit like we've seen with Udegaard. The vision he had, Bergkamp, for what he did, and the assist. I mean, watching the assist back, and especially what was it, the goal that Vieira scores in that invincible season. He hits it. He had a habit of doing it as well. Noticed hitting the ball outside of his foot, making it look effortless. I mean, there was another assist in the double winning season where the ball's come to him in a literally deft touch, boom, literally as it's touched his foot, it's just nothing else. Just hits his foot, but it's sort of set up perfect for Perez, and he just hits it, curls it away against Ascalon against Bolton. And Ian Wright. I mean, Ian Wright's another reason why I love Arsenal, because again, the enthusiasm he had for the fan base and the fan base had for him. He loved the club from the minute he walked through the door to the minute he left. The fact that literally we win the double in '98 after waiting all them years, and then gets told it's time to move on. You're getting on a bit now. Anelka's coming through. He's your replacement. We can't guarantee your time. You're going off to West Ham, and he was in tears of it. And also adding to the equation of Wright as well. The reason he wanted to come to Arsenal as well and play for Arsenal, not just because we were winning at the time. There's a positive vibe going around Arsenal. His best mate was there, in Rocky. Well, again, another honourable mention we've got to mention as well, Rocky Rocastle.
Well, he makes my team every time, but that's personal feelings again. But not that. In fairness, I would say the same. Like I said about Paul Davis, I think he will get into any team in Europe now. His type of player is. I can't think of anyone that's just got the pace, the power, the skill, the technical ability, the desire to win, the mental, the way he is, the mental strength. He looks like a choir boy type of beauty, like the face, but he was. I'll tell you what, no one will push him off the ball. He was tough as an ox, but he was just had everything. He'd be a £100 million player in this day. So, the fact that I've named him, he is very much a bias. However, I still think he's got a very good shout of being in there anyway, on merit.
Yeah. Mark in the chat is also saying as well, his 11 would be Seaman, Dixon, Adams, Cole, Campbell, Rocky Rocastle, Vieira, Bergkamp, Charlie George, Wright, Overmars.
Got no balance, that team, though. It's got great players, but it's not got any balance. They'd never win the league, that team, because it hasn't got the right balance. I'm sorry. It's a good team, but it's got no... The midfield's got no defensive qualities about it at all, really, has it? Apart from Vieira. Vieira just get exposed in that team, wouldn't he, unfortunately? But anyway...
Yeah, James.
So many players to choose from, trying to squeeze them in, isn't it? I mean, you could make pick a top 5, couldn't you? And
I would have had Cole in if it's an all-time 11 because he was the best left back in the world at that point. But the reason I put Winterburn in because of the collective. That collective back four was so strong, so good.
You could still throw Ashley Cole at left back in any back four, and he would be still the best left back ever. So
but I know he's a cunt, though.
For that reason, I know. Loved it, but
he's a cunt, though.
Cole was just a better player.
I can't deny the fact that he was an exceptional player, but just shaped it for me, Winterburn. However, ask me in 2 years' time, I'll probably put Tierney in there. Ricky's going to be that good.
We need to win the league first. We need to win the league first.
Yeah, we'll do. Next couple of years.
We'll come back. Add that to the equation.
He's going to leave with him. He's going to get bored.
John in the chat as well saying Brady should be in the all-time 11 again. He would be in almost like Brady would be, but again, like Andrew said in the chat, and as we did say earlier on the show, we were discussing doing this. It had to be players that had won a league title with Arsenal. And sadly, even though the quality player that he was, he weren't part of a league title winning team.
The only times I saw Liam Brady play live was when he played against Arsenal for West Ham, because unfortunately I just missed him. I started going to Arsenal the year after he left, so I only saw him play against Arsenal a couple of times for West Ham. I think he's got a goal against us one game I was at, which I actually was quite happy about to see, even though we lost. I was quite pleased to see Brady play against us and score. But anyway, that's a different sort of great player. Even then, he must have been well in his 30s by then. He was still a great player. Yeah. So I can only imagine how great it must have been to have seen him play in the 70s when he was at his best. I mean, I remember seeing the cup finals on telly in the 70s. He was great. But
sorry, James in the chat as well saying there was a compilation of Bergkamp's assists on Twitter. Not just his Arsenal, but entire career sort of thing for country and all that.
Oh, Bergkamp's the greatest player I've ever seen.
Yeah,
but
and on Twitter the other day, some of it is filth. What he does to defenders and certain players, it was. Yeah. There's one clip I keep saying every now. Whenever these people do like compilation videos, it's literally this one clip where he gets the ball hit up by Leverkusen. At Highbury, he gets the ball, he goes in, out, and then just outside of his foot, just go boom over the top, Lundberg goal.
Yeah, no, he was. Bergkamp was an unbelievable player. Probably the technically best player I've ever seen play for Arsenal, definitely. But with a 4-4-2 formation and having, I wanted to get Alan Smith in because I feel as though with 2 golden boots in 2 title-winning seasons, he deserves to be in there. And I don't think Bergkamp and Smith would have worked that well as a partnership, because I think Smith needs a little bit more pace around him. That's why I put Henry with him, because I just thought they would have worked with that. But I mean, Bergkamp is just a phenomenal player. But anyway, we're lucky that we got the choice to pick, having to leave out so many great players. If we pick an 11, it's just ridiculous. You can pretty much pick 3 11s of Arsenal players that's won the league title, and that'd still be 3 of the greatest teams ever to play football, wouldn't they?
I reckon I could. Yeah, I reckon I could do that easy. Yeah.
Yeah, you could easily.
All different players.
Yeah. The Worldie podcast.
I mean, we're leaving out Pascal Segan and Igor Stepanov. I mean, got to find room for
Rami Shaban.
Yeah. Wright won a title medal as well, so he can be included.
Yeah, exactly. Don't get me started on Jamie Carragher. He has no football knowledge, just be honest. He just says he's getting clicks and the views. The Worldie podcast is saying Jack Carragher said Jesus' flick was better than Bergkamp one.
It depends what Jesus is on about. If he's on about Jesus Christ. When he,
Jesus Christ probably did as much, magical things as Dennis Bergkamp. Probably it'd be quite close though. It'd be quite close
though. I think Bergkamp will still shade it.
You might do, yeah, but it would be close though.
Yeah, apparently Chelsea has gone 1 up and finding Werner scored.
Everybody wins at Anfield, though.
It's common knowledge, isn't it? It's easy now.
Everybody
easy.
You just turn up and get 3 points.
Yeah, we'll go there next season. We'll win there. That's fine.
No, we won't. Everybody else wins it, except we'll be the next team to lose it at the start of next season.
Oh dear! You watch. We actually will get them start of the season as well. You watch.
We always play them early in the season, don't we?
Oh dear! I get fed up with it. But yeah, I mean, again, do you want to do a collective?
My manager, by the way, would be George Graham.
Yeah,
George Graham would be my manager, because he was the manager who, in all the big games, apart from one I can think of, or actually 2 I can think of, but other than that, in all the big games, he got his tactics right every single time, and he's the only Arsenal manager I've seen do that.
Oh dear.
Dennis Bergkamp nailed his crosses all the time. That's the difference.
Yeah. And by the way, apparently the goal's been disallowed by VAR. But yeah, James Bergkamp was better than Jesus Christ. He was never nailed on the cross by Roman defenders. Yeah, but yeah, like you said, he was phenomenal. Crossing, shooting, everything. I mean, I remember that last. I think it was basically his last ever proper goal, competitive wise, was against West Brom at Highbury. And what was called what the fans say called Dennis Bergkamp Day.
Yeah.
And literally, he gets the ball fed into him by, I think, a Boué. And he just brings it in, looks up, and then goes, just plums it in, curls it in past Thomas Sqaud.
Yeah. Brilliant goal. A brilliant player, wasn't he? Brilliant.
Yeah, so
I've seen him play for Arsenal for so long. 400 odd games he played for Arsenal, and every single one of them he was brilliant. Well, not all of them, but 99%.
What was it? I think was it the double winning season where he got a hat trick away to Leicester? Yeah, it was
that's the best hat-trick in the Premier League.
Yeah, and also
ever.
And still to this day, he's the only player to be named first, second, and third in a goal a month competition.
Yeah. I remember that. You see the just all
how long? But every one of them goals were absolutely quality. And I think it was the hat-trick goal where he's literally just he's missed it because the way he celebrates is like, "Oops, I didn't mean to do that."
Have you listened to the Handbrake Off podcast? The latest Handbrake Off podcast. I think it came out yesterday.
I was going to listen to it tonight.
Big thing about Bergkamp, but he scored that goal against Leicester. And then that summer, that's when he did the goal in the World Cup semi-final.
The World Cup against Argentina, against Argentina, yeah.
And it was just one of the most brilliant moments. Obviously, Amy Lawrence, the way she does is, she explains things so beautifully, didn't she? And the way she said it, that was our player. And he basically put his hands over his face, scoring that goal against Argentina, and that was basically that was just giving him that private moment, just to realise what he's just done, and giving that just a split second of privacy before he got mobbed by all his teammates and everything. And she goes, I almost cried for him, alongside him, for what he just did. And I felt the same. I was so proud about him as well, scoring that goal, and that's our player. A few months before he'd done it in our shirt as well, and just a class above anyone else, really.
Well, I've always said
whenever he's going to hit.
Yeah, I've always said outside of Arsenal goals, that goal against Argentina is my favourite goal to ever watch, because the fact the ball, because where the ball was when it was played to him, like just over the other side of the halfway line, pinged from I think De Boer. Just pinged it over to him, and he's just a touch. He just brings it down, boom, and one touch brings it, and then the second touch is just hitting it in a way. It bends it away from the goalkeeper, and then the celebration, obviously in front of his own fans, that goal as well. And you could tell how much it meant to him as well. But the fact he just went, okay, bring it down, bang. Didn't even have to look or anything. He's just like, okay, cool, bang.
And James Johnson has just put in the chat about if you watch it with the Dutch commentary on, it's fantastic.
Oh yeah, Dennis Bergkamp.
They played the clip on. They played it on the Handbrake Off podcast. It's brilliant.
I've seen
fantastic.
Yeah, I've seen that quite a few times and heard it. Yeah, Dennis Bergkamp, and it goes off and
it's the best commentary ever.
Yeah,
it's brilliant.
Fantastic. Yeah. Oh my days. What was it? Mark was saying in the chat about the offside goal. Werner was offside because his arm was further out than Robertson's foot by about 50 yards from the goal.
So when you score a goal with your arm, it's going to count that in, is it? If that's
apparently, according to VAR and the people that run it, not the
VAR.
Not the VAR. Not VAR. It's the people that run it.
The VAR goals was his arm the other day.
Oh dear. The way things are going, I wouldn't be surprised
What
anyway.
an absolute joke it is. Football's become a joke. See, we've just gone back on all these great memories of all, great days of football, and now you get stuff like VAR going on. It's killed it. Football's dead. Football is dead, and it's just ridiculous.
I hate it. I absolutely hate it.
Yeah, I mean, James also said they asked the commentator, and he went, "I forgot. I had to be impartial," and just got caught up in the moment.
Yeah.
How can
we not? Seriously, if you're that nationality, I mean, you're going to lose your shit, aren't you? To be fair.
Yeah, definitely. And with that, I think before anything else gets done, because this is the whole point of this, is brightening people's moods and roll back the years and relive them glory days, and let's just have a bit of a laugh and have a bit of fun and all that. And obviously, Melvin's birthday sort of adds into the equation as well. Sort of that was nice as well. But yeah, we're going to wrap things up now because obviously, Andrew, you're being called. You're being called.
I've been summoned.
I've got to get myself some rest because tomorrow is injection day for me. The first, got to be done apparently. So yeah, and then come back on Saturday, do the watch long at stupid o'clock. Yeah. Because apparently we can't even when we don't play midweek football, we've got to have an early kick-off apparently. But yeah,
don't we? On on Saturday.
Yeah, before we wrap things up, actually, just one quick thing. Apparently, UEFA have changed the thing, haven't they? Because Tottenham and Arsenal were drawn on the same side of the draw, as in both ties would be away at the same time, and this, that, and the other. And for some reason, instead of changing, because we're cup holders, the rule isn't apparently we should be getting the home tie first.
That's a reward for Arsenal. It's a reward for Arsenal because it seems it is. In all seriousness, UEFA say that their cup winners take precedence over the qualifying for in the league position. It's supposed to benefit Arsenal, but it's not.
Well, it doesn't really. Playing at home in the second leg is supposed to be more an advantage.
In that sense, but also got North London because we've got North London derby in between it. That's the gripe that we're having. Like, hang on, you've helped them out.
No longer have to travel.
We'll beat them anyway. We don't need excuses. We'll beat them anyway. We'll beat them 5-0. They can get stuck, a lot of them.
Should be the operative word. But as I said, we'll wrap things up. But that really pissed me off, just because the North London derby, because it sort of gives them that they don't have to travel. Like, we had to travel from Athens to Leicester, and that's hence why the changes and all that. And now we've got to fucking travel from Athens back to London again for North London derby.
We're used to it now, aren't we? We're used to it now, so we'll be fine. And we beat Leicester doing it as well. And Leicester were at home on the Thursday, so I think the stars have aligned in our favour. We're going to absolutely hammer Spurs. It's going to be funny.
I hope so, because literally, apart from this weekend just gone, they have been piss poor. Let's be honest. Burnley don't turn up against the top teams anyway, so that's a win there. We've got them this week, and that's a win. Touch wood. But yeah, I've enjoyed that. Again, it was all the whole point of it was to have a laugh all about the years and not be reminded of what we're having to witness now, and hope we give us some optimism that it can be done again. It can be brought back, even in these days of money, and all that. And big shout out to Melvin again. Happy birthday to him. Hope he has a rest of his birthday, really good birthday, basically, with his family and all that. And we'll see him again on Saturday for the watch along. Andrew, where can people find you and your social medias and actually YouTube channel?
Give us a subscribe on the From Dial Square to Where YouTube channel. Got shows every Wednesday on that, but really, really enjoyed tonight. It's been really good fun, and thanks for inviting me on. Get the YouTube, my podcast as well on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all the other major podcast platforms. So if you don't get a chance to sit and watch on YouTube, and please subscribe via your favourite podcast platform. And I'm Twitter is @From Dial Square, so it's good to follow.
Yeah, and no problem. And again, hope to get you back on again soon. But I know obviously we've just got to work around everything. That's no problem there. Richard, what about yourself? Where's your channel? Where can people find you on social media as well?
Yeah, my channel's over and over and over again. It's on Twitter. It's @OverAnArsenal. My personal Twitter is @GoonerRichB as well. I've got a show tomorrow. I've got a couple of Burnley fans coming on actually to preview the Burnley game on Saturday, and I'm doing a watch along and all the usual stuff as well. I've got the After show as well on Saturday. So loads coming up on the channel. Please nip over and subscribe if you haven't done so. So this was a great show tonight. Really enjoyed it. Great to look back on some great memories, and I say we've been fortunate, haven't we, over the years to have experienced what we've managed to be lucky enough to experience. So whatever happens in the future, it'd be great to see Arsenal win the league again and have a great team like that again. But ultimately, what I've experienced and what we've all experienced will never ever be repeated anyway. So if it ever happens again for me, I can live with it, because I've seen so many great moments from Arsenal. But it's more for the younger generation I want to see it for, so that they can experience some of the things that we did in the past. And for my son and stuff like that, he's only seen us win the FA Cup and that's it. It'd be nice to see it if he could see us win the league again one day, but he'll probably end up my age before we do anyway.
Well, my brother's the same. He was literally he was born in 1999, so he wasn't old enough to witness 2002 or 2004 really, because he was doing his own thing. He wasn't old enough to really sit down and appreciate what was going on around him and all that, which you can understand. Obviously, at that age, it is what it is. But obviously, over the years gone by, you learn these things, you research it and all that. Like I've always done when I was growing up, research the stuff that happened before and this, that, and the other. But as you said, it's nothing beats actually physically as witnessing it and being part of something in itself in the moment itself.
Exactly.
And all four of us, including Melvin, we've throughout our lifetime have had them moments. We have been part of them. Like you said, it would just be nice for the next generation, this younger generation, to see where we're coming from and things, and why we're so ambitious and why we want to be back to where we were.
I hope it's not something they just experience through videos or through reading about and stuff. They can actually physically experience it as well, because nothing can beat it, can it? You know, seeing your team win the league in particular, you know, winning a cup final is great, but seeing your team win the league over 38 games, nothing can top that. I don't think, nothing at all, because that's what football's about, isn't it? You play your league games week in, week out, and if you're the best team at the end of the season, you win that, lift that trophy up. There's nothing to beat that at all. And I say we've been lucky to see our club win it a few times, and some fans will never get to see their club ever win it. And they have to take their joy from elsewhere, don't they? Other things that are big to that particular club. Like, I mean, imagine being a Spurs fan. Can you imagine that? What
61, never again. That's all I'm saying.
What life of misery they've had. I almost feel sorry for them, but I don't, because you can't. But I almost feel sorry for them. But anyway,
the Worldy podcast is saying, hasn't seen his team win the title. I've seen Arsenal win the title because he was born after the last one.
Yeah. Well, my son was born in 2003, so obviously he was a baby in that Invincible season, and obviously we've not won it since, so he's never seen it either. So it'll be nice to see it. I mean, he's 18 this year, and he's still never seen us win the league. But it took me till I was 21 till I got to see us win the league. So I
was 6 days old, so technically.
I don't remember it, so actually remember the first time I actually win it. So it'd be nice to have it can happen for him before he's 21, but time's running out for that now, and I can't see it in the next 3 years. But anyway,
we've never gone.
We've never gone in our history more than 18 years without winning the league.
That's true.
Next year, 18
years of existence.
Well, since the first one.
Since we first won it.
Since we first won the league title, I think what you meant. Yeah. But you know what? Yeah, exactly. That would be sort of bittersweet. And it sort of touched on what I'd sort of touched on with Kevin Campbell last season when I had him on a couple of times. And I was saying there's sort of comparisons between George Graham when George Graham took over and this, that, and the other. It would sort of be a full circle, bittersweet moment in the sense of, we've had this shit season domestically. We have had these shit performances, the shit results, and all that. But you know what? The second season to do, especially nowadays, with all the money that Man City have, and they're just fucking walking the league. For us to then, even if we go toe to toe with them and push them all away next season, I'll snap your hand off. But we need to go out and get rid of the rest of the deadwood that isn't good enough for this squad in the summer. Bring in some quality players. I think today I've seen a report where we actually are interested in Lamptey. We just haven't formally put a bid in or approached them or anything. And literally, you know what? We've gone, okay, these are the players we want. Lamptey is one of them, but we're going to wait till the summer because they want to see if Brighton go, oh, he's gone. No problem there because he's obviously running late. I've got back things up. But basically, we want to see if Brighton stay up or stay down before we make an approach because obviously they could make. Because if they stay up, obviously they'll be like, if we're going in now, we're like, well, we want like 50+ million for him then, basically, because of their Premier League cabinet helping us out, basically. Whereas if they go down, that price will be a lot lower. You're looking at the sort of price that they're asking. But you see, it's asked for Max Aarons, if not less. So they're doing it smartly. But it's nice to hear that Edu and Arteta are planning that far in advance, and they've got apparently, including Lamptey, 5 other players lined up to go and approach this summer. But it's all about recruitment. Again, Adams has always said we'll never get back to competing at this moment in time unless we sort the recruitment out and recruit the right players, not just anyone, but the right players to fit the system. And to be fair, since Arteta's come in, the players that have come in either via loan or were brought in permanently have all fitted to the system that he sort of wants to build on.
We just have quality and depth. That's the problem. But
so maybe we could, as you said, add a bit more to that, and as you said, add more depth in, and you never know. Stranger things happen. In fact, unless someone won the league a few years back, out of nowhere, so you never know.
Season before, so you never know, I suppose.
Yeah, you never know. It is what it is. If it happens, it happens. You know what? I'll just take us competing again at that start and build ourselves back into that contention for being title winners.
Yeah.
If in the next 2-3 years we win a fucking league title, I'll snap your hands off now. Put it that way.
Yeah.
I'll be that happy because I haven't. Again, I'm 31, going on 32, and I've not seen my team win a title since I was 14. 5 days before my 15th birthday, when we last lifted the title.
Wow.
That's how long it's been. In my entire 20s.
It has been a long time, but maybe the way I look at it is every year's a year closer to the next one. It's just when that's going to be, whether it's going to be my lifetime again or not. I don't know. I hope so. But,
I hope so. Yeah, like you said, I hope so. But yeah,
I've been lucky enough to experience a lot of good moments, so I can't really grumble too much, I suppose.
Well, exactly. But it'd be nice to see it again and be a part of something going forward and all that. It's just not being a mid-table mediocrity and all that. But you never know. I mean, these previous things we touched on tonight have proved it can be done time and time again. So you never know. So, but yeah, with that, I'm going to wrap things up. If you're new to the channel, you come across this, you've liked what we've done tonight, and you come across all the other content. Do smash the like button. Do subscribe as well, obviously, and share the content around and channel around with everyone you know. Yeah, I'm also going to be trying tonight to get this set up on audio, so I can so people who don't want to watch us but you want to listen to us instead. Get that set up so you can do that on via other platforms and all that. And once I do definitely get that set up, you guys will definitely know because I'll put it in a community post, I'll put it on Twitter and let everyone know that. But basically, this will be hopefully the first podcast going audio. Hopefully, touch wood. And yeah, next time you'll see me then is Saturday fucking morning at 11:30. Yay!
Early one.
Nice and early again. That's like last week, but this time, unlike last Sunday, I was impersonating Charlie from Charlie's Angels, apparently. Where he literally just a silhouette of me. You actually see my face and everything this week. No, because it was early kickoff. It's Sunday. I have a Sunday lunch and all that. So I was literally going back and forth, and literally just before serving up dinner, the game would go live. So I literally had to set this all up downstairs. So I'm literally not going up and downstairs. Just sat there running back and forward. So yeah, the entire match, I'm just a silhouette, and it's basically, what was it Joel saying? You're Charlie from Charlie's Angels, basically. All you need is a red light flashing, and you're good to go, basically. Oh god, yeah. But I was also saying to Joel as well. I think it was on Instagram. He's really showing our age. Really, his last 2 watch songs we've done, he's referred to Total Recall, the original film, and now Charlie's Angels. It's really showing our age.
We showed our age tonight, haven't we, with all the games we've been remembering? So.
Yeah, exactly. Should decide the best Arsenal captain of all time. Do you want to do that quick before we wrap things up?
Well, Tony Adams, that's it.
Yeah. Well, I can't really go against that. My channel's.
I mean, there are probably others in history that Frank McClintock's probably got a shout.
Yeah,
and maybe back in the 30s, there was, Eddie Hatgood was a good captain for Arsenal back in the day, and a few others, I suppose, Alec James and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's got to be Tony Adams, I sure.
Yeah. Chelsea went gone up 1-0 up for real now, apparently. And then John's gone for the sack.
I want to draw that game, really, but anyway, I suppose
they probably will. I think it's been apparently, from what I can make out, it hasn't been a very entertaining game. I haven't watched it or anything, but
no,
you never know.
Draw would be nice.
It would be, but you never. Yeah, but as I said, hopefully this will be the first audio. Once I've got it all up and running, as I said, on my social media platforms, I'll be announcing it. I'll be announcing it here in the community chat on my channel as well for you guys. Again, like I said, for anyone that hasn't got the time to watch but want to listen to it back, hopefully you have that option. Touchwood, if it all comes out working. Oh dear. And yeah, as I said, see you Saturday 11:30 with myself and Vic and the usual suspects, Melvin and the gang. Hopefully we can continue this winning streak, actually. Going for another 3 points, going into the Olympiacos first leg with a bit of confidence, a bit more confidence, I would say, because we're obviously confident, but a bit more confidence. And see if Pepper can...
Nice, definitely be nice. 2 away with the Premier League in a row as well, that'd be good. Unusual to do that as well.
Exactly, yeah, especially with Burnley. Burnley usually make it hard for us, but this season, I've noticed against the top teams, home or away, they don't turn up. They just go, okay, no problem, there you go, there's the goal.
They did beat us over anyway. We did have 10 men, I suppose, and we were playing terrible at that point. So.
It was only when we went down to 10 men when they sort of came out themselves and went for the game. It was literally up to that until Xhaka did what he did.
Yeah,
It still pissed. we were literally up to that point start to turn the pressure on them and actually go for the goal ourselves. And then he does that, and he's like went the other way. It's like, you fucker. But you can argue technically if he hadn't got something off, that doesn't happen. But you know.
Yeah, we'll never know, I suppose. But hopefully we'll get our revenge on Saturday and win the game and keep moving up the league a little bit, because that top six is getting a little bit further away now with the results tonight. So we need to keep winning.
Well, if we obviously with Liverpool Liverpool losing, if we then win on the weekend, because it's their game in hand, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we're 6 points off them then, as it stands. If you win on the early kickoff, we're then 3 points off from there to win their game, and this, that, and the other. There's a pressure spot on them.
Yeah, we still got catch up to do, don't we? So
we've still got to take over Tottenham and Villa first.
Yeah, I mean, if we can win, if we win on Saturday, Tottenham don't win, then we beat them, we'll go above them, won't we? So that'll be nice.
Well, we'll go above them with a bit of a gap between them then. They can't keep, because that sort of pissed me off as well. Literally, as we finish our game, they kick off, and then 2 minutes later, they're fucking above us again. It's like, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, we was above them for about 5 minutes, weren't we?
It's like, damn it. Only you had one job.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Anyway.
But yeah, you know what, Richard, you got your show tomorrow, as you said, with 2 Burnley fans and Melbourne as well.
Yeah, that's going to be
good
to chat to some Burnley fans.
Yeah. How many players have you found for this one? Ex-players.
There's about 10 actually that I found. There's about 10. So we went through some of them last time. I found a couple more. So I might just do the couple more that I found, because that would be good. But so it's just going to be a good show actually. Yeah, we'll look at the game as well. There's a few memories of past meetings. There's not been that many in recent years, I suppose. They're more of a recent Premier League team, aren't they? But there's some good games that's gone on between us over the years. That'd be good. That's a good 8 o'clock. No, 7 o'clock tomorrow. 7 o'clock, and then obviously the watch along on Saturday, which is going to be hopefully good, but an early start is just
very nice. Like 1 week we don't have to play midweek, but got to play an early kick off. For fucks, why couldn't they just put us at 3 o'clock for once? I don't think we've had it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we've actually had a 3 o'clock kickoff this season on a Saturday.
Not for ages. I think we probably have. I can't remember off the top of my head. We must have done. Must have had one.
I think we have. Because we had early kickoff the first time. We had the first game of the season, the early kickoff.
Yeah, it was early.
The following week was a late kickoff. We've had early or the lates.
Actually, yeah, we have.
We've never had a 3 o'clock kickoff this season, but everyone else has. I think.
I don't think we have. Actually, you're probably right. I don't think we have.
But yeah. Legend in the chat on Richard's channel. What his preview match show? Brilliant. Yeah, it's Shane. He's a sub to both our channels. Yeah.
Yeah, no, Shane's a good lad. He's always in the chat. Yeah, so you support the channel. You're always watching the show, which is great. Yeah. As
I found out recently, me and you are 2 of the 5 lucky people to have him subscribe to our channels, basically, and podcasts or whatever. I think because he said a few times, basically, he likes what we do because we have no agendas. We're not like other channels and all the characters and all that malarkey.
No, Shane's he's always in the chat on my show quite a lot, so it's good. Really appreciate the support, Shane. It's always good.
Yeah, definitely.
Hopefully you enjoy it tomorrow as well, and the other ones that I'm doing as well, and obviously what's going on this channel as well. So it's good that you're enjoying it. That's the main thing.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Especially when you got, as I said, that incident last week with fucking Sqaud having to go at Craig and the same with Arsenal and all that malarkey. And because I put a tweet up basically saying I didn't agree with how he went about things. He then started taking digs at me and my channel. I was like, "Well, thanks for the late night shows. They really helped my dementia. No, not dementia.
Insomnia.
Insomnia, basically. That was it. Insomnia. I was like, "Don't fucking forces you to watch it, mate."
I know, yeah.
That's holding the gun to it.
I've had comments like people saying, "Oh, I don't know why anybody watches him," and I said, "Well, you just have to have made a comment." You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think he's subscribed to your channel. I believe. I don't know. Shane, confirm. Please confirm. Either way, if not, there's a channel's name. Go and find it now on YouTube. Or actually, before I actually sign out, I'll get the link for you now. One sec. Because you did a show last night, didn't you? I think Shane was in the chat on that show. I think he must have subscribed because he was in. I'm sure he was in the chat last night on the show. That was a good show actually. Because I couldn't come on because obviously I was in the members thing with Arsenal and all that.
Yeah,
Oh dear.
get Graham Ricks on in the end, but hopefully he's coming on again soon. But it was a good show anyway. We had a laugh and all that, which is good. That's what it's all about.
Here we go. Gotta find it now. Here we go. I'm just going to go to the link quickly. Back. The only thing, this is going to be the audio as well. So people watching it, listening to this, don't have a clue what we're on about now. What I'm doing.
No.
Oh dear. It is what it is though. There we go. And there we go. It's now there in the chat as well.
Yeah, so give that a subscribe as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, Joe was in the chat last night on that show on Andrew's channel. It was good.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, I thought he was. I know he was watching. I know he's in the chat last night. So I had a feeling he probably.
So there's six of us. There's six of us lucky people that have Shane. So that likes our content, that likes what we do. So you know what? And again, I do it for the people that like Shane and obviously yourself, Andrew, John, Mark, and Steve and Warren and all that, and everyone else that comes in.
Yeah, exactly.
If we weren't doing a good job with what we do, they wouldn't come back regularly on a regular basis. They'll just come across one, unsub and go away. The fact they come back, that says it all. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, you know, you get the same people coming in the chats every show, so that shows that they're enjoying what you're doing, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's nice to get good feedback on because I think sometimes some people don't realise that the work that goes into doing shows like this, because you've got to prepare for it. You know, sometimes you're on the air for 2 hours, whatever it is. It's quite it's a big job, isn't it? You know, and I think people maybe don't always realise. You know, even if you put a 10-minute, 15-minute video out, the preparation that goes into that sometimes a couple of hours worth of work, and people maybe don't realise that because they just see the video, and it's good when you get support from people that watch them, and you know. But yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, no problem, Andy. I've always supported you. I always have. For the whole since day one, basically. Yeah, you're a good friend of mine. There's another reason why. There's another positive to doing these things. I've come across like yourself, Andrew, and all that, and Melvin, and built these friendships that you wouldn't have normally done, especially in the last 12 months. We couldn't even go to games anyway to meet you face to face and things like that.
No, that has been the best thing about all of this, actually. And you know, the little YouTube community, if you like, that we've discovered over the last, like you said, year or so has been fantastic, hasn't it? It's helped get through the difficult time, I think. And you know, it's not quite made up for not going to games, but it's been the next best thing, hasn't it? You know, in a way, because we can still enjoy the games together and we can do stuff together. And it's made up for it a little bit, really.
Yeah, definitely. I think with that, we will wrap it up. We will go now. Thank you again. Absolutely appreciate it. Again, massive shout out to everyone in the chat, and obviously Melvin and Andrew as well. And again, if you listen, hopefully it does work. You're listening to this back. I hope you enjoy it as well. And yeah, come over to the channel itself, YouTube, the Mr. Arsenal podcast, and obviously whatever platforms this does get put on the audio side of things. Do give us a follow on there as well. And spread the word. And yeah, until then, until Saturday, enjoy the rest of the evening, enjoy tomorrow, and we'll see us nice and early. No matter where you are in the world, it'll be nice and early. I feel sorry for Gary because obviously he's got to be up even earlier than us.
Yeah,
but commitment. But you know what? It's commitment. But until then, guys, as always, up the Arsenal. Come on, you Gunners!